Divine Eye Appraiser, in Another World Volume 126-59. Episode 26, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 23. This is really bad. I'm currently deep in the forest. But the one person I can rely on, Rikot-san, is Rikot-san. Please wake up. Seriously? Please wake up. After the intense battle with the slimy insect, Rikot-san was knocked unconscious. She had been swept away by the slimy goo. I don't know if her being like this is some kind of delayed reaction to seeing something so grotesque. But for me right now, this is a life or death situation. There are no monsters nearby. But there are some further away. It seems it hasn't noticed us yet. But once it does, it'll come charging straight at us. And why? Because that monster is a bullfang. Rikot-san, seriously, wake up. Sigh. What am I supposed to do? At first, I thought I could carry her on my back. But the slimy goo is all over her, making her too slippery to lift. If I could wipe off the slime, I could carry her. But touching her skin without permission? Yeah, no. That would feel really inappropriate, especially with all the slime making it even worse. So I need her to wake up, but there's no sign of her stirring at all. And Glenn is. Wait. He's leaving? As I kept an eye on the location of the monsters, I also used my appraisal skill to check on Glenn's whereabouts. At first, it looked like he was trying to find us. But now that he's noticed the nearby monster, he's retreating and heading back toward Gran's owl. Maybe he's gone to get help. Since it's his prank that put us in this situation, I'd like to think he's doing his part to help us out. Oh, this isn't good. A monster's getting closer. I'd like to believe the slime is masking us and to some extent. But a monster is slowly, yet surely, approaching. And it's none other than the bullfang I was worried about. How much of a chance do I have against a fully healthy bullfang? Yesterday, I couldn't even lay a finger on the bullfang that Rikot-san had already damaged. If the sound of fighting wakes Rikot-san up, that'd be great. But even if she does wake up, with the slime on her, she probably won't even be able to hold her sword. So I have to buy time. I wish the appraiser, Divine Eye, had some kind of special power. But I guess that's asking for too much. As I muttered that, there was a new line of text I had never seen before. It appeared on the status screen of the bullfang, which had been displayed the whole time. What's this? No way. Is this a strategy guide? The bullfang still hasn't noticed us. So, I hurriedly read through what was written. A 100% success rate. If I sacrificed Rikot-san and run away? That's not an option. I couldn't help but blurt out a protest at what I was reading. The bullfang had heard me. It stopped for a moment and then started approaching cautiously, heading straight for us. It noticed us. What other strategies are there? The first method listed involved using Rikot-san as a decoy. But lower down the list, there were other options with lower success rates. However, they all involved either sacrificing Rikot-san to defeat the bullfang or using her as a shield while fighting to make her wake up. But none of which aligned with what I wanted. Is there seriously no way to save both me and Rikot-san? As I scrolled further down, I finally found a method that offered a slim chance for both of us to survive. This. If I mess up, I'll be the first to die. Naturally, since it's a plan where we both survive, the method involves me defeating the bullfang. Success rate, 25%. But I have no other choice. I can't just abandon Rikot-san here. I steeled myself, stood up, and gripped my one-handed sword tightly. Rikot-san, please wake up soon. Murmuring under my breath, I started walking toward the bullfang. Episode 27, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 24. Episode 27, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 24. Even though our scent was disguised, there was no way to mask the sound of footsteps. So I hid myself after advancing a bit. However, the bullfang seemed to realize I was hiding, as it cautiously observed its surroundings. And then, I deliberately jumped out in front of the bullfang. Take this, you bastard. Fugo? The bullfang let out a weird cry. It was probably startled by my sudden attack. And I swung my weapon with all my might. Thud. Yeah, I knew this was going to happen. Fugu. I immediately turned and bolted. My appraisal skill provided me with an escape route, so I followed it. Though whether my body could actually keep up was entirely on me. Ha, 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 ha. This is tough. I barely avoided tripping over a tree root sticking out of the ground, but I managed to keep my feet moving forward. Meanwhile, the bullfang, thanks to its huge body, was getting stuck between the trees as it chased after me. It couldn't quite catch up, and its frustration grew. It made it roar angrily in my direction. Roar all you want, I'm just gonna keep running. Honestly, the combination of the roars and the sound of trees crashing down behind me was enough to make my spirit falter multiple times. I'm not exactly built for stamina, so just running like this is already exhausting. I really want to just stop, but if I stop now, Rikot-san will be in danger. If it were just me, I might have given up already. But now, Rikot-san's life depends on me. Probably. So, I absolutely cannot give up. You've got to be kidding me. I kept slipping through the trees while hearing the enormous sound of them crashing behind me. Occasionally, pieces of the trees flew towards me, but I ignored them and just kept running. Finally, the last instruction from my appraisal skill appeared before my eyes. This is it. It's finally over. I arrived at the designated location. With a shout, I leapt forward like I was doing the long jump. And as soon as I landed, the appraisal skill displayed a celebratory message: mission complete. Degrees. Let's go. Yeah, no, it's definitely not complete yet. I shouted at the appraisal skill in frustration, then turned around and readied my sword. The bullfang, with a furious expression, was growing larger as it charged straight toward me. I gulped and braced myself, when suddenly, slip, yes. It slipped. The area where I had lured the bullfang was coated in the slimy residue left behind by the slimy insect. The bullfang, with no hesitation, stepped right into it and went flying, crashing onto its back in the most spectacular way possible. It slid right up to me, exposing its belly, the only soft part of its otherwise tough hide. This is the real mission complete. Without a second thought, I thrust my sword into its exposed belly. Unlike its tough back, the blade sank in easily. And with the help of the appraisal skill, I struck exactly where its heart was, killing it in one blow. Oh, ha, ha, ha. Did I win? I stared at the now motionless bullfang, my legs finally giving out as I collapsed on the spot. Sitting there, I realized just how massive the bullfang really was. This thing was towering over me. It was huge, and thick. If it had charged at me, I would have died instantly. Oh yeah, Rikot-san. She's safe, thank goodness. There were no monsters near Rikot-san. And Glenn, who had gone back to Gran Zawal, had already returned to the forest. He was likely with some soldiers or adventurers. I'm so tired. I'd like to check everything out, but I can't really think right now. My body completely gave out, and I collapsed onto the ground. Overwhelmed by exhaustion, I lost consciousness. Episode 28, The Royal Castle 3. Episode 28, The Royal Castle 3. In a certain room within the royal castle. Here, Shreden Kingdom's King Joseph, Queen Amanda, and their only daughter, Princess Maria, were engaged in a secret discussion. That woman. Her name was Haruka, wasn't it? We don't need sharp, perceptive adults like her. Why was someone like that included in the hero summoning that was supposed to be limited to easily manipulable children? King Joseph Shreden sighed in frustration, to which Queen Amanda Shreden responded in agreement. But, thanks to my teleportation magic, I've already sent her to the Forest of Demons. So it's no longer an issue, father, mother. It was Princess Maria Shreden who possessed teleportation magic. It was also Maria who had sensed that Haruka was suspicious of the Shreden Kingdom. You truly have a keen eye for people, as expected of our daughter. Right now, the hero and the others are now focused on leveling up. So things should be calm for a while. Gazing out the window, the vast royal garden came into view. There, students were training under the guidance of knights. Among them, the 4 with special class professions stood out for their rapid growth. Kuya-sama, Arata-sama, Madoka-sama, and Yuria-sama are truly remarkable. As expected of the special classes. However, it seems Madoka-sama and Yuria-sama are hiding something. It was Maria who pointed this out. Did you see something? Yes, Both of them have a black mist around their chests. Is this black mist the same as the one you saw around Haruka? Yes, mother. It's possible that Madoka-sama and Yuria-sama could also become dangerous individuals. Maria possessed a rare skill called Magic Eyes. By activating it, she could identify individuals harboring ill will, which manifested as a black mist around them. The mist is still small at this point. So while they may have some suspicion of us, they haven't yet reached a point of certainty. With Haruka, you said she should be eliminated immediately. Is this different? Yes, father. The mist around Haruka covered her entire upper body. When it reaches that stage, no matter how much we try to convince her, it's nearly impossible to change her mind. Well, in her case, she was an advanced class, so we dealt with her quickly. But Madoka-sama and Yuria-sama are special classes, so we might want to observe them for a bit longer. However, mother, if their levels rise, they could survive even in the Forest of Demons. We should decide sooner rather than later whether to keep or eliminate them. Maria's advice was accepted by Joseph and Amanda. It was about 40 years ago that the Kingdom of Shridden had secretly dispatched its elite to the Forest of Demons to carve out a teleportation magic circle. Among them was one special class and 5 advanced classes, all said to be unbeatable at the time. Despite their abilities, they only managed to reach the edge of the Forest of Demons. The mission had been top secret. And once the magic circle was completed, the team returned to the kingdom using the teleportation magic. However, to cover their tracks, the 5 advanced classes were executed on the spot, leaving only the special class warrior alive. It was said that a single special class was worth the strength of 5 advanced classes. As their levels increased, the chances of 2 special class individuals surviving and escaping from the Forest of Demons also grew higher. Yes. Level 10 is probably the critical point for making a decision. Indeed, darling. If the black mist hasn't disappeared by then, even if it's small, we should eliminate them. With both the special class hero and sword saint among our warriors, the day when Shridden rules the world is near. Especially, if we have the hero. Maria spoke these words while casting her gaze toward Kuya, who was training with the knights. The special classes possess charisma skills. Kuya-sama, being the hero, has an especially high level of it. But he's no match for you, father. Kuya believed that his charisma skill was the reason why the students followed him obediently. And while this was true, he hadn't realized that he himself was under the influence of an even higher level charisma skill. It made him compliant without knowing it. Madoka-sama and Yuria-sama became suspicious of us before the skill could fully activate. Once suspicion sets in, it becomes harder for the charisma skill to take effect. Well, there will always be a few like that. King Joseph Shridden's charisma skill was at level 10, the highest possible. Unbeknownst to Kuya and Arata, their thoughts were already being influenced, preventing them from seeing through Joseph's control. I can't wait for you to awaken to that power, Kuya-sama. Just as the prophet foretold, the royal family eagerly awaited the day when that latent power within Kuya would finally emerge. Episode 29, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 25. Episode 29, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 25. I can't eat anymore. Are you okay, huh? When I opened my eyes, the faces of Alicia, Glenn, and Ricot-san were peering down at me. Why were these 3 by my bedside? Wait. Why was I even asleep? I was sure I had gone into the forest to level up. Maki-san, do you know who you are? Do you recognize us? Yeah. I'm Mahira Maki, and you're Alicia, Glenn, and Ricot-san. Ricot-san. Mahiro, I'm really sorry, I'm just glad you're okay. You weren't hurt, were you? How's your body? Any problems? I had left Ricot-san behind in the forest, even though it was to save her. She must have been shocked when she woke up alone. She might have even panicked, realizing how Protectee was missing. I never meant to put her through that, but... now I'm finally remembering what happened. I'm really sorry, Ricot-san. I didn't mean to leave you behind, and I was planning to come back to rescue you. But I was completely exhausted. And after I defeated the Bullfang, I passed out immediately. Seriously, I'm so glad you're okay. Mahiro, that's what I should be saying, you know? Note, again, this should be a different small font in my docs, huh? Did you say something? Hee, I'm glad, Rickert-chan. I knew Maki would forgive you, but I didn't expect him to not let you get a word in. Huh? Forgive who? For what? I didn't understand what they were talking about. I was the one being protected, so of course I should be thanking her. What does forgive even mean in this context? Mahiro. Why yes. Despite being assigned as your guard, I lost my cool in fear of the slimy insects, panicked, and passed out. Worst, I had to be rescued. This was gross negligence on my part, and I'm prepared to face the consequences. See consequences? No, what is she talking about? Rickert-san didn't do anything wrong. In fact, despite her fear of the slimy insects, she fought bravely. I don't have any complaints about her at all. If anyone deserves criticism, it's someone else. There's no need to punish Rickert-san. More importantly, Glenn? Ha. It's me, isn't it? Of course. You knew Rickert-san was terrified of the slimy insects, and you still made her fight them. If it wasn't me in that situation, we'd be dead for sure. If I hadn't had my appraiser, divine eye, ability, I wouldn't have made it through. I was only level 1. And even if I'd had any other profession, I wouldn't have been able to defeat the bullfang, and we would have been killed instead. Now that I think about it, Glenn really put us in a terrifying situation. I'm really, truly sorry about that. I've already apologized to Rickert over and over again. As you should. Even if you want someone to overcome their fears, there are better ways to go about it. You need to think more carefully about the situation before acting. Maki-san is absolutely right. This time, both of you survived, and no harm was done. But if anything had happened, you would have been fully responsible, Glenn. I was reckless. I regret it. Yeah, he seems genuinely remorseful, so I guess I'll let it go this time. After all, Glenn wasn't acting with ill intent, he was trying to consider both me and Rickert. And next time, I'll play a safer prank. You still don't get it, you idiot. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Glenn. If Glenn ever asks for my help again, I'm never taking the job. Wait, Rickert, I was joking. I'm really sorry. I don't care anymore. While I was inwardly amazed at how they could make such a ruckus right next to someone who had just woken up, the noise actually felt somewhat comforting. By the way, how long was I asleep? Like, a whole day? Maki-san, you were out for 3 full days. 3 days, huh, that's quite a, wait, 3 days? My loud reaction made the two people who had been making all the commotion turn to look at me. I was asleep for that long? Yes, and we were really worried about you. Rickert-chan came to check on you every day, too. Well, I mean, it's my responsibility after all. So that's what happened. Thank you, Rickert-san. I'm really glad you were my guard. Mahiro. Hearing you say that makes me feel really happy. Rickert-san didn't need to feel responsible just because I'd been asleep for 3 days. Knowing she came to visit every day made me feel even more grateful. But what really surprised me was, I was asleep for 3 whole days, and Glenn still had the nerve to joke around. Well, that it was just me trying to lighten the mood. I'm really sorry. Please forgive me already. Unable to bear my silent glare, Glenn apologized yet again, for what must have been the 100th time today. After that, my stomach growled in protest. I had some food and was told to continue resting for the rest of the day. There were things I wanted to check, but that could wait until tomorrow. For now, my job was to rest. Episode 30, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 26. Episode 30, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 26. The next morning, I checked my status as soon as I woke up. Despite having slept for a full 3 days, my body still felt tired, and I quickly fell asleep again. But today, I had to check my status. I was too curious to sleep any longer. I defeated the bullfang, which was level 10. Shouldn't I have leveled up significantly? Alright, let's see. Status. I opened the status screen with my heart racing and immediately focused on the level section. And then, whoa. No way. My level has gone up. Yes. I finally leveled up for the first time. If I hadn't passed out, wouldn't there have been some triumphant sound effect, like da 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 da? No, wait. Now's not the time to be thinking about that. My level has gone from 1 to 2. Alright. Alright. Wait. Let's stay calm. I defeated the level 10 bullfang, And I only leveled up by 1. How much experience do I need? Seriously, it shouldn't be this hard to level up as a beginner class. Just then, perhaps because I was making such a fuss, the door knocked. And in rushed Alicia, looking flustered. Maki-san. What happened? Listen, Alicia. My level only went up by 1. I defeated the level 10 Bullfang. Upon hearing my desperate plea, Alicia initially stood there, mouth agape. But she gradually calmed down and placed her hand on her chin in thought. It certainly is strange, right? With that level difference, it shouldn't be surprising if I leveled up a lot. But after all that trouble, I only went up by 1. I almost felt like crying on the spot. But thanks to Alicia's smile as she suggested we eat, I managed to hold back my tears. Yeah, my rumbling stomach might have played a part in keeping the tears at bay, too. After moving to the living room, I greeted Glenn, who had already arrived. I reported on my level during our meal. Glenn also found it strange and seemed to be pondering the situation. But I told him we should eat first. Because my stomach wouldn't stop growling. What do you think, Nei-san? I can't think of anything else. That must be it. The two of them discussed their thoughts while eating. I wanted to focus on my meal, but I couldn't help but overhear their relevant conversation. What is this you keep talking about? In the end, I ended up asking the question. Oh, I'm sorry, Maki-san. That's right, it was mealtime. Let's eat quickly. Is that so? I'm so curious that I can't even taste my food. After hurriedly finishing my meal, I immediately repeated my earlier question. And the one who answered was Glenn. You know that there are professions ranging from beginner to special class, right? Of course. My appraiser, Divine Eye, is a beginner class, but it might have the potential to be a special class. That's correct. However, the fact that your level only went up by 1 strengthens the possibility that your appraiser, Divine Eye, is a special class. Why is that? When I tilted my head in confusion, the two exchanged glances and nodded vigorously. Listen, Maki. The lower the class of a profession, the easier it is to level up. Conversely, the higher the class, the harder it is to level up. So, Maki-san, the fact that your level only increased by 1 when you defeated a level 10 Bullfang serves as evidence that your appraiser, Divine Eye, is a special class. After hearing their explanation, I realized they were right. However, if that's the case, leveling up is going to be quite a painstaking task. By the way, Maki-san, have you looked at your stats other than level? Oh, I completely forgot in my shock. Then you should check it out right away. Special classes have a harder time leveling up. But when they do, their ability values increase significantly. Is that so? Alright, let me take a look. Feeling slightly relieved, I shifted my gaze to the ability values on the status screen. My ability values were only 5 or 10, so maybe I shouldn't expect much from this. Wait. Hey, this can't be happening. A special class is this favored? My ability values have suddenly gone up to either 20 or 30. If they've increased by 2 or 3 times, then it's definitely amazing. Episode 31, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 27. Episode 31, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 27. Isn't that a bit low? Really? I thought it went up quite a bit. Huh? I don't even know what a normal value is supposed to be. Maybe it's normal for numbers to increase by more than double, and my original values are just low? My numbers were mostly 5 or 10, but is that considered low? To be honest, that's quite low. Yeah, even when I was at level 1, I had values around 15 for each ability. And some were as high as 20. I see. So, I really was starting from a pretty low point. I thought since my ability values doubled, they would be considered high. Doubled? That seems to surprise them. Why yeah. My strength, endurance, and speed went from 5 to 20, while my magic and dexterity went from 10 to 30. That increase might be a major difference between special professions and beginner professions. I'm amazed, Maki. At this rate, you might become a fighting appraiser in no time. Haha, I hope so. Even as I said that, I had a certain anxiety creeping in. While it's great that my ability values increased significantly with my level, that only matters if I can actually level up in the first place. I had only gained 1 level from defeating the level 10 Bullfang. If I defeated the same Bullfang again, I might not gain any levels. Thinking about it this way made me realize just how tough leveling up really is. It was easy in the game, though. Just moving my hands made the character move, defeating enemies to level up. Sometimes, there were even times when the character would fight on its own while I just watched. But here, I had to fight the magical beasts myself, kill them, and earn experience points. I knew this already, but facing the magical beasts brought fear crashing over me. But with numbers like this, defeating a Bullfang should be quite a bit easier, right? Yeah, that's true. Rikot-chan also mentioned she wanted to be your bodyguard again. And if it weren't for Glenn's mischief, she'd be very competent. We promised not to talk about that, Nei-san. I don't recall making such a promise, Alicia retorted, turning her head away from Glenn, who raised his voice in a panic. Watching the two of them happily converse helped ease my anxiety. Thank you, both of you. As I enjoyed my meal, I considered going to level up again today when... Ding ding ding. Suddenly, the mansion bell rang loudly. We exchanged glances. Alicia stood up, prompting me and Glenn to head towards the entrance as well. When we opened the door, a soldier was there. He was panting and resting his hands on his knees. What's the matter? I'm sorry for bothering you so early in the morning. We just received a report that a roar from a magical beast was heard in the Forest of Demons. What did you say? It hasn't even been that long since the last attack. What is happening? Wasn't it just that a roar was heard from the Forest of Demons? Glenn mentioned an attack. Does he mean this roar is a signal for a magical beast invasion? Who went for reconnaissance? The captain and Rikot went. Rikot too? Now it was Glenn who raised his voice in surprise. Isn't a level 15 lower profession an inappropriate choice for reconnaissance? It seemed I wasn't the only one thinking that way, as Glenn shouted at the soldier, trying to get an explanation for their selection. But the current issue wasn't about that. Glenn, let's calm down for a moment. We can't calm down when this is happening. Rikot has high strength and endurance, but her speed is low. Not to mention, her level isn't suited for this. Why is she going for reconnaissance? Calm down, Glenn. For the first time since arriving in this world, I saw Glenn shout at someone. Me, of course, as well as Alicia and the soldier, looked at him with shocked expressions. Excuse me, but did Rikot-san go for reconnaissance under someone's orders? Who are you? Well, they would be cautious about sharing information among soldiers with an outsider present. It's fine. Please answer. Alright. However, with Alicia as the lord present, there was no issue. Rikot requested to accompany the captain of her own volition. I knew it. But why would Rikot do such a thing? This is probably my fault. Maybe Rikot-san feels responsible for putting me in danger and requested to accompany the dangerous reconnaissance. No way. Glenn raised his voice in surprise, but it couldn't be helped. This situation could indeed be traced back to the prank Glenn had jokingly pulled. Is it because of me that Rikot? Well, now that it's come to this, my course of action is pretty much decided. To be honest, I'm still feeling uncertain, and there's a risk of my profession being discovered. But I can't put a person's life at stake. I'll head to the Forest of Demons. If I can confirm that the two of them are safe, that should solve the problem, right? Yes, with my Appraiser, Divine Eye, I can locate the two of them. And while I can't fight in a battle, I might be able to provide strategies. Episode 32, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 28. Episode 32, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 28. However, both Alicia and Glenn refused to approve my suggestion. It's too dangerous. That's right, Maki-san. Even though your level has gone up, your ability stats are still low. We have no choice but to trust in Captain Ryan and Rikot and wait. But still, to be honest, I'm really worried about Rikot-san. I heard that during the 3 days I was unconscious, she came to visit me every day. She probably felt responsible the whole time until I woke up. And now, we've received this grim news about the magical beast's attack. While I doubt she thinks she's protecting me specifically, it's possible she's steeling herself to finally be useful in protecting Gran Zawal. When did Captain Ryan and Rikot-chan say they'd be back? They're scheduled to return by this evening. I see. Let's wait until then. If they don't return by nightfall, we'll figure out a plan. Understood. The soldier, called Vil, tapped his right fist twice against his left chest and ran off. That should be fine, right? Glenn, Maki-san? Sorry, Nay-san. It's okay, really. Besides, things might get even busier from now on. That's true. Alright, I'll do my part. Thank you. So, Maki-san. I'm sorry, but we'll have to cancel today's level grinding. Well, given the situation, it can't be helped. I wasn't concerned at all, so I responded immediately. But then, something piqued my curiosity, and I asked Alicia a question. Hey, Alicia. What's the captain's name? His name? Captain Ryan's full name is Ryan Snow. Ryan-san and Rickot-san, huh? Got it. As I muttered to myself, Alicia and Glenn looked at me with concerned expressions, but what I was about to do wasn't particularly dangerous. In fact, it was something I'd done several times before. The only difference was that the target this time wasn't food or a magical beast, but specific individuals. Appraise, Ryan Snow and Rickot Artist. As I activated my appraisal skill. Oh, there it is. Rickot-san is level 15, and Ryan-san is level 30. Ryan-san is crazy strong. His stats are mostly in the 90s, and his strength is over 100. But what's the Silver Knight anyway? Maki-san? Maki, are you saying you can appraise even the captain? Yeah, seems like I can. Is there a problem with that? Why are they looking so surprised? Appraising people is just what it sounds like, right? Is this really something to be shocked about? It seems like they're amazed that I was able to appraise Ryan-san. But is this Silver Knight some kind of a unique profession? I just tried it, and it worked. Isn't that normal? Like when I appraise magical beasts. Normally, it's impossible to appraise someone of a much higher level. Maki, your level is still 2, right? It only went up by 1, right? Yeah, but... well, it worked, so there's no point in overthinking it. Besides, if I can't appraise higher-level beings, then I wouldn't have been able to appraise the magical beasts in the Forest of Demons either. I said that with a laugh, but their expressions remained stiff. Still, being able to appraise meant that I could confirm both Ryan-san and Rickot-san were safer now. The indicator showing their location is moving, so I think they're traveling through the Forest of Demons. For now, it seems they're safe. Maki, did you appraise them just to check that? Well, yeah. It doesn't take much magic power. And if need be, I could even keep monitoring them for a while. Maki-san, you really are beyond extraordinary. Whether or not I'm extraordinary, I won't know until I see other special class professions. But right now, I'm glad my appraisal ability is beyond extraordinary. Let's keep an eye on things until tonight for now. Like I mentioned earlier, I'll keep using my appraisal skill to check on their condition regularly. Thank you so much. If anything happens, will you inform me immediately? I'd like to take action right away. Got it. Glenn, are you feeling a bit more at ease now? Even if it's just for the time being, Rickot-san is safe. So Glenn doesn't need to feel guilty. In fact, right now, he should be focusing on supporting Alicia with whatever he can. Yeah. Thank you, Maki. I thought I'd convinced myself earlier. But after hearing what you said, I feel even calmer now. That's good to hear. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. I'm counting on you, Maki. Leave it to me. I responded with the biggest smile I could muster. And while Glenn's smile was a bit stiff, he managed to return one. Episode 33, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 29. Episode 33, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 29. Currently, I find myself bored in my room. Alicia and Glenn have gone to the barracks, and I'm unable to leave the mansion. I could go out for a walk, but I'm a bit uneasy about it. I don't have any money, and I'm not familiar with the area. If I got lost, I wouldn't have anyone to rely on. So it's only natural to feel anxious. When I first came to this world, I thought I'd enjoy exploring the towns. But given the current situation, that's just not possible. Well, helping others isn't a bad thing, so I don't mind. But once I confirm that Rickot-san and Ryan-san are safe, I'll definitely take the time to enjoy this other world. For now, I should use this time to check my status. I opened my status screen and glanced at my level again. I didn't expect my level to only increase by 1. But since my appraiser, Divine Eye, is a special class, it can't be helped. I'll just have to hope for better growth in the future. As I continued looking at my stats, one thing kept bugging me, my luck stat. A luck stat of 100. When exactly has my luck been good so far? Let's see. Maybe the fact that when I was teleported to the Forest of Demons, there weren't any monsters nearby. The next lucky moment might be the fact that I survived and made it out of the Forest of Demons alive. While the ability of the Appraiser, Divine Eye, played a huge role, luck must have been involved as well. What about meeting Alicia and Glenn? If it weren't for them, I wouldn't have been accepted as another worlder so easily, and I might have hesitated to tell them about my origins. In light novels, knowledge from the original world is often a powerful weapon in another world. And there are always those who would try to exploit it. Yeah. Meeting those two was probably the luckiest thing that's happened to me. Finding people who are understanding of other worlders is a huge advantage. Another thing that comes to mind is when Rickot-san passed out while we were leveling up. It was when I got separated from Glenn after being swept away by that slimy insect. If there had been any monsters nearby, we probably would have been killed before I even noticed. So yeah, an element of luck definitely played a big part in our leveling session, too. A luck stat of 100. Is that something rare? I haven't mentioned anything about my luck to either Ashley or Glenn. Even when my level went up to 2, my luck stayed at 100, so I haven't had a chance to bring it up. Maybe I should ask them once things settle down. Even I know it's odd to have just my luck in the triple digits. So I can already imagine their surprised reactions. With that thought, I shifted my focus to my skills. At first, I only had the appraisal skill. So I was hoping something new might have appeared. Nothing new, huh? Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be that easy to gain new skills. But still, it's natural to expect something, given I have a special class profession. I'm still not entirely sure if it's really a special class. But based on the points Alicia and Glenn have brought up, it's safe to assume that's what it is. If acquiring skills doesn't depend on leveling up, I suppose there's not much I can do. But there's still so much I don't know. I should have asked for some books at least. Any book about this world would have been perfect for killing time. There are some books in this room. But they're all about cooking or etiquette, neither of which I need right now. Even if I lay down on the bed, there's too much on my mind for me to sleep. With no other option, I got up and stood by the window, gazing outside. From my room, I could see the tall trees of the Forest of Demons just beyond the outer wall. The wall itself was quite high. But even so, the trees rose far above it. Just how tall are those trees? It's kind of ridiculous. By now, Rickot-san and Ryan-san are probably near the Forest of Demons or inside, scouting around. Still, why did the beasts in the Forest of Demons suddenly start roaring? When I was wandering in the forest, I occasionally heard roars. But maybe the scale was different this time. I didn't hear any roars loud enough to reach the city from the forest back then. It's bothering me. Could someone else have been teleported? No, that can't be it. If that were the case, something similar should have happened when I was teleported. Then maybe someone unknowingly entered the Forest of Demons. But that seems unlikely, too. There are soldiers guarding the entrance at Grand Zarwal, and everyone in this world knows about the Forest of Demons. They're still. Yeah, they seem fine for now. I confirmed that the status screens of the two were still active. And then I lay back down on the bed, staring up at the ceiling. Episode 34, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 30. Episode 34, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 30. That night, Alicia and Glenn returned to the mansion in a flustered state. Maki-san, Captain and Rickot haven't come back. Yeah, I know. I had already confirmed that they hadn't returned by checking their statuses. However, something was off. Their indicators were moving slightly but not significantly. If they were heading back to Grand Zarwal, there should be much more movement. Could they be injured and unable to move? That seems highly likely. We need to send a rescue team immediately. Calm down, Glenn. It's already nighttime, and visibility is poor. Sending a rescue team now will only lead to more casualties. The chances of saving them are too low, Alicia said, silencing Glenn, who ground his teeth in frustration. Alicia, do you know when the monster attack is expected? The report came this morning. So if things go as usual, probably by tomorrow evening, then we should prepare to dispatch the rescue team by tomorrow morning. We'll also request help from the adventurers, right? With lives at stake and the impending monster attack, We need the Adventurers' cooperation. But why do they both look so grim? Well, the Adventurers Guild isn't going to help. What? Why not? Grand Zarwal is in danger. Hold on, hold on. Are adventurers in this world just a bunch of greedy opportunists? No, Maki-san. Grand Zarwal isn't in danger, yet. Right now, it's only the soldiers who went on a dangerous reconnaissance mission that are at risk. So that's how it is. I couldn't help but raise my voice in frustration at the Adventurers Guild. However, Alicia was right. The monsters haven't moved yet, and it's just the soldiers who are in danger. In other words, it's expected that fellow soldiers should be the ones to save them. So, that means the rescue team will be made up of soldiers. How many soldiers are there who are as strong as the captain? There aren't many with his skill. But the next strongest would be Vil, the one who came to call me. Anyone else? No. The other soldiers would just be monster fodder in the forest of demons. With all due respect, how has Grand Zarwal managed to fend off the monsters from the forest up until now if the soldiers are that weak? I found it hard to believe that soldiers, who were supposed to defend against the high-level monsters from the forest, would simply be monster fodder. What you're saying is valid, Maki-san. But we've been fighting off monsters that had been culled from the forest, those that were weaker and easier to handle with sheer numbers. Even then, we've suffered casualties. Entering a forest teeming with stronger, uncaptured monsters is a death sentence. Yet Rikot-san went in the willingly. She's a brave person. And that's exactly why I want to help her. If we're forming a rescue team with soldiers, it looks like it's just going to be me and Vil-san. Huh? No. There's one more. One more? But you said Vil-san is the only one who can handle the forest of demons, right? Well, he's not among the soldiers. Not among the soldiers? From the way she said that, it sounded like someone outside the military might be joining. But the Adventurers Guild isn't helping, so who could it be? Maybe a friend of Alicia's. And no way, sister. What the matter, Glenn? Do you happen to know that someone? The rescue team for Captain and Rikot-chan. I will be joining. Hey, wait, no way. The Lord herself is saying she'll go on the rescue mission? Episode 35, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 31. Episode 35, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 31. It was only natural for me to be surprised. But even Glenn was panicking as he tried to persuade Alicia. No way, sister. What if something happens to you? Who will handle the duties of the Lord of Grand Zarwal then? I'll leave that to you, Glenn. You'd probably do a better job than me. I can't do that. Alicia and Glenn were arguing back and forth. But isn't there a more fundamental problem here? Alicia, can you even fight? I heard your profession is a mage, but isn't that a lower class profession? Exactly. She's a lower class. There's no way she can be useful in the forest of demons. True, but my level is 20. Which is higher than Rikot-chan's. Level 20. I was surprised to learn that her level was higher than expected. After all, Rikot-san, being a soldier, probably faced monsters more often. So I thought she'd have a higher level. But Alicia's was even higher. Alicia, were you a bit of a wild child growing up? Who knows? But with level 20, I should be able to manage as long as I focus on self-defense. Even so, that doesn't change the fact that it's still dangerous. Glenn was still protesting, but his voice was getting quieter. Maybe Alicia is the kind of person who never changes her mind once she's decided something. In that case, no matter what I say, she's probably going to insist on coming along. Alicia, are you really going to join the mission? Of course. The people of Grand Zarwal are in danger. As their leader, it's my duty to rise to the occasion. There are monsters around the entrance of the forest of demons with levels ranging from 50 to 60. It might sound strange coming from someone like me, who's only level 2. But with a lower class profession at level 20, you could be killed in a single blow. I'm not going there to die. I'm going to save our people and return alive, so please rest assured. But still, saying something like please rest assured won't really cut it. Don't worry. Yep, she's definitely stubborn. I sighed and glanced at Glenn. But it looked like he had also given up on trying to persuade her. Now, it seemed like it would be up to me to make sure Alicia and Vil-san didn't die while guiding them safely to where Rikot-san and Ryant-san were. Fine. But you absolutely have to follow my instructions, okay? My Appraiser, Divine Eye, ability seems to also show success rates for strategies. Success rates? Yes. Thanks to that, I was able to defeat the Bullfang. I then explained in detail how I managed to take down the Bullfang. I even mentioned how the initial strategy suggested sacrificing Rikut-san for a high success rate, which made both of them look at me in disbelief. However, when I explained that the skill had also suggested a way to save both Rikut-san and me, even if it had a lower success rate, they expressed surprise and admiration. So, we can use this ability to figure out a way to save the captain and Rikut-chan while ensuring our own survival? Yes, but only if you follow my instructions exactly. If you act differently, the success rate will change. And there are other uncertainties to consider, such as I've only used this method once, during the Bullfang fight. So it's not fully tested. If something unexpected happens, I'm not sure if I'll be able to adapt quickly enough. Even if we follow the instructions perfectly, there's no guarantee we'll survive. That's why the success rates are shown, because there's always a risk of failure. But on top of that, if something unforeseen occurs, there's no telling how the ability will respond. So, that's why I want you to stay behind in Grand Zawal. I'm definitely going. No matter what anyone says, I'm coming along. There's no convincing her. I scratched my head, realizing I had no choice but to give up on trying to dissuade her. Glenn seemed to have accepted it as well. He resigned himself to prepare for the mission by confirming the duties he'd handle as the acting lord in Alicia's absence. As for Rikut-san and the others, they're still barely moving. If one of them is injured, we need to hurry. If there's a monster nearby with a keen sense of smell, it might find them even if they're hiding, and it could already be too late for treatment. As soon as their handover was done, I would need to join up with Vil-san and discuss the plan for tomorrow. I'd probably have to explain my abilities as well, but saving lives takes priority. Thank you for waiting, Maki-san. Alicia was ready and called out to me. I then turned to look at Glenn. Everyone will come back safely, so don't worry and wait for us. Thank you, Maki. I'm counting on you to keep everyone safe. Leave it to me. Alicia, let's go. Yes. With that, Alicia and I hurried towards the barracks. Episode 36, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 32. Episode 36, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 32. When we arrived at the barracks, we found a meeting already in progress with Vil-san and a group of high-ranking officials. As expected, while Alicia's presence was understandable, I was a complete outsider. The others, except for Vil-san, couldn't hide their surprise. He is my ally. He will be helping with the upcoming beast attack and assisting in the rescue of Captain Ryan and Rikut. Alicia's explanation only deepened their confusion. I can understand why they wouldn't accept me as an ally so easily. I mean, I probably just look like a kid to them. At first glance, the group seems to be relatively old. They are probably people of the same rank as the captain or one rank below it. Naturally, they'd be skeptical of relying on some unknown person who just showed up out of nowhere. My lord, if I may ask, who exactly is this person? The one who immediately spoke up was a gruff, bearded soldier with a stern face. He is the child of an old friend of mine. I have requested his help because his abilities are essential for the rescue mission. Are you saying you do not trust us to handle this? Uh-oh, things were starting to get tense. Weren't these soldiers supposed to be on Alicia's side? I trust you all. However, since we are heading into the Forest of Demons, we need to be as prepared as possible. Don't you agree? That's true, but, furthermore, this is a rescue mission, not a hunt. We must act quickly. So wasting time questioning his involvement is pointless. Alicia was so cool. The bearded soldier was left speechless, his mouth forming a tight line. I also understand that, other than Vil, no one else has volunteered for the rescue mission. Is that correct? Yes, I am the only one, Alicia-sama. Vil-san seemed to be the youngest among the group. The fact that he could stand tall among these older veterans showed just how capable he was. A quick appraisal confirmed that Vil-san was level 25, with the same profession as Ryan-san, Silver Knight. The other soldiers didn't even reach level 20, suggesting that level 20 might be the bare minimum required to venture into the Forest of Demons. Seeing how underleveled I was compared to them was a bit of a blow to my confidence. and it only made me wonder more about why Alicia's level was as high as 20, higher than even some veteran soldiers. I see. Very well. Then the rest of you should prepare for the incoming beast attack. Vil, stay with me for further discussion. Understood. Vilsan saluted by pounding his chest, while the other soldiers gave a respectful nod and left the room. Hopefully, this isn't a sign of division among the soldiers. That'd be bad. Forgive me for showing you such an unpleasant scene. No, it's fine. But, is everything really okay? I wish I could say yes with confidence. It seemed like things weren't entirely fine. However, we don't have time to discuss our internal issues right now. That's true. Vilsan, I'm counting on you. I'm Mahira Maki. I am Vil Thomas. By the way, Maki-sama, are you an adventurer? Even though we'd met back at the manor, it was natural for him to be curious since no one had really explained who I was. No, I'm not an adventurer. I'm just here as a helper. I see. Though I can't reveal Maki-san's profession for certain reasons, his abilities will be essential in finding the captain and Rigot-chan. That's why I requested his assistance. Alice explained briefly to avoid any unnecessary suspicion. Vilsan seemed to grasp the urgency of the situation and didn't press further. Instead, he extended his hand for a handshake. Captain Ryan is my benefactor. Please, let's work together. I'll do my best to assist, I said, shaking his hand firmly. Seeing that, Alicia clapped her hands and smiled. All right. Let's start discussing the rescue mission. Given the situation, fewer people will be better, right? That's correct. Tori and I will ensure Captain Ryan and Rickett are. I'm coming too. Huh? Hey Alicia-sama, what did you just say? I said I'm coming with you. What? Yup, I knew it. His reaction is totally understandable. Episode 37, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 33. Episode 37, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 33. No, Alicia-sama. Isn't that a bit too reckless? I've already made my decision. Besides, both Glenn and Maki-san agree with me. Maki-sama? It's not that I agree, I've just given up. As I smiled and said this, for some reason, Alicia smiled back. Seeing this, Vilsan covered his face with his hands and sighed. I understand. Alicia-sama won't backtrack on her decision. Thank you very much. I'm not praising you. So, are we still departing tomorrow morning? The quick change of subject is truly a soldier's trait. Or perhaps Vilsan is just an exceptional person. We should avoid secondary damage, so I think that's how it will be. I see. Considering that we haven't returned by this evening, I can't help but worry. But there's no helping it. I have a small suggestion. Is that alright? As I looked at Rigot-san's status, which I had been observing since this morning, the two of them raised their heads and looked at me. If it's just a rescue, we might be able to depart immediately. Is that really true, Maki-san? Yes. They haven't moved from near the entrance of the Forest of Demons. They're probably unable to move due to a dragon that has claimed the entrance as its territory. If that's the case, wouldn't we be unable to help them if we go? I hadn't looked at the dragon's status. But since it has a breath attack, it could turn anyone to ash in an instant. So that didn't matter. The real issue is how to execute the rescue, and I've found a method from the strategy that I'm curious about. The dragon moves regularly. However, because the intervals between its movements are short, I think the two of them can't move because of their injuries, I suppose. Yes. Since they were able to get in at first, that seems to be the case. So, we'll go inside, perform the necessary healing, and then escape from the Forest of Demons. Wait a moment. Vilsan, who had been quietly listening to Alicia and me discuss, hurriedly opened his mouth as the conversation progressed without any consideration for him. How do you know the movements of the captain and the others, Maki-sama? Well, I can only say it's thanks to my profession. Does that mean Alicia-sama believes so? Yeah. I've seen it with my own eyes. Gee Glenn. For some reason, Vilsan trembled at the sudden outburst from Alicia. Well, if your lucky underwear was found, you wouldn't have any choice but to believe it. I won't pry. But I can really trust you, right? Please trust me, I replied clearly while looking directly into Vilsan's eyes. For a moment, it felt like we were in a standoff. But then Vilsan suddenly smiled and showed me a salute by tapping his left chest twice. I swear on the heart of a knight, I will trust you, Maki-sama. Thank you very much, Vil-san. With both of them convinced, I proceeded to explain the strategy. Out of all the strategies that would ensure everyone survives, this one had the highest success rate. But even then, it was only 10%. The chances were lower than when dealing with the bullfang. And that was a concern. Will this method really work? The success rate is low, but I think this is the best we can do. If Maki-san says so, then that must be the case. Among the necessary items are tools for treating injuries. And looking at the displayed names, there was one that excited me a bit. There's a high chance they're injured. Do you have any potions on hand? Yes, potions. The kind that absolutely heals injuries. Yes, but we need to be careful that they don't break while transporting them. By the way, didn't Alicia-sama have a magic bag? Yes. This is also a familiar item when talking about another world, the magic bag. It surely has a capacity that exceeds its appearance, a truly otherworldly magical bag. I have it with me. I'll put all the necessary items in it and we'll set off. I'd like to bring some spare potions if that's okay. Of course. I'll prepare them right away. Vil-san said this to Alicia, then left the room for a moment. Episode 38, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 34. Episode 38, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 34. Once I confirmed that we were away from the room, I decided to ask Alicia regarding my profession. Alicia, if we're going to act together, shouldn't you tell Vil-san about my skills? That might be true, but that's a different conversation. I do care about both the captain and Rigot-chan. But I also want to protect you, Maki-san. But I think Vil-san is a trustworthy person, right? It's a bit dubious to trust someone I just met today. But this comes from my appraisal of Vil-san. To be honest, I appraised everyone who was in the room, and there was some not so good information about one of them. The first person who spoke to Alicia was the bearded, tough-looking soldier. And next to his name, it displayed, enemy. Intent, present. It's only natural for him to harbor hostility towards someone like me, whose identity is unknown. But there was no such display for Vil-san. Just because we met once in the mansion doesn't mean he should trust me easily. Yet he didn't have any negative indications. If I believe in my appraisal skill, I think it's fine to tell him. Vil is indeed trustworthy. However, I think it's still too early. Understood. But Alicia didn't give permission. By the way, will that strategy really save us? Well, the success rate is displayed as 10%, which is quite low. But it's the highest chance we have to save everyone. 10%? Yeah, it's low, I totally get that. It's very concerning. Well, there's no cleverness to it. A strategy like recovering with potions and escaping quickly isn't very creative. In other words, even if we come up with a plan, it wouldn't matter. That might be true. But I will definitely make it work. I said that to reassure her, but I realized there might be other strategies. Or perhaps there are. Alicia, there's something I want to tell you. It seems Vil has returned. Before I could convey my thoughts, Alicia spoke. And moments later, Vil-san came back into the room. Is this all right? Let's check. Yes, it's fine. He brought a total of 10 potions. With this many, even if we get injured, it'll be more than enough. I will definitely protect you, Alicia-sama. Thank you, Vil. Why yes. As she expressed her gratitude, Alicia quietly placed the potions into her magic bag. Alicia's magic bag was a plain waist pouch attached to her belt. I had imagined something more ornate and beautiful for a woman. But it seemed designed for mobility, which surprised me. Noticing my surprise, Alicia explained with a wry smile about the magic bag. This is the magic bag my father used. Alicia and Glenn's parents fought to drive away the magical beasts and ended up losing their lives. They probably had a bag like this for easier movement during emergencies. Alicia's high level might be because she fought alongside soldiers against magical beasts. I want to become a lord who can protect Grand Zawal, just like my father and mother did. So, that's why you insisted on going this time? That's part of it, but the main reason is that the citizens are in danger. After Alicia finished putting the potions away, Vil-san stood next to her. Even though it's a strategy with a low success rate, we must ensure it succeeds. If the plan were to fail, well, somehow it would work out. Alright, let's go. Yes, though I haven't conveyed this to Alicia, in the worst case scenario, I might report back on my own judgment. Episode 39, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 35. Episode 39, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 35. When the three of us exited the barracks, the soldier guarding the gate looked surprised and called out to us, Alicia-sama. And Vil-sama. Who is that? He's an ally. We're heading out to rescue the captain and Rickert. Right now? Wasn't it supposed to be tomorrow morning? We need to hurry. If magical beasts attack before we return, Glenn will take over as the acting lord. So keep that in mind. Now, let's go. Wait, Alicia-sama? The soldier, taken aback by Alicia's rapid-fire explanation, was stunned. But as Alicia began walking, he shouted after us. Of course, we didn't stop and headed straight for the Forest of Demons. I used appraisal to locate the positions of the magical beasts, just like when I escaped from the forest. I carefully led the two of them to avoid encounters. At first, Vil had a perplexed expression. But seeing that we weren't encountering any magical beasts, he seemed to acknowledge my ability and started smiling as we continued on. However, there were inevitably times when he couldn't avoid magical beasts. In such cases, I called out in advance and had Vil-san step forward. Can you see them over there? Yes. That's a king bear. And in the back? Is that a horn bull? Two magical beasts were glaring at each other in our path. There were magical beasts in other directions as well, moving around. So I determined this was the best place to take them down. Soon, they'll likely start fighting. Please take advantage of the moment when one of them is distracted after the other is killed to attack. Understood. After giving my instructions, I stepped back and crouched behind a rock next to Alicia, watching the situation unfold. A few seconds later, the two magical beasts began to fight. The horn bull charged forward, trying to pierce the king bear with its long, sharp horn. But the king bear swiped its massive paw across the horn bull's face. The horn bull was violently knocked back, bouncing off the ground. But it quickly got back up and charged again. Wow, magical beasts are tough, huh? The magical beasts near the Forest of Demons tend to have higher levels compared to others. Then it's true. They're both in their 30s. The king bear was level 34, and the horn bull was level 31. Both were higher level than Vil-san. Facing them head-on would be dangerous. But it seemed possible if we could catch them off guard. While the king bear was indeed on the offensive, it wasn't unscathed. It took several counterattacks, and there were moments when the horn bull's horn managed to injure the king bear. It looks like the end is near. As for any other magical beasts. The surroundings are clear. There aren't any. Understood. Vil-san drew the straight sword he had hanging from his waist and gripped it with both hands, waiting for the right moment. We maintained this position for a while. But then, the battle between the magical beasts suddenly reached a conclusion. I had thought the king bear would win, but my expectations were proven wrong. As soon as I heard a crackling sound from the horn bull's horn, a pale blue light burst forth, flickering multiple times. Then, a laser-like beam shot through the king bear, causing it to spew out bright red blood as its enormous body swayed and collapsed to the ground. Vil-san? Wait. Is it happening now? The pale blue light continued to crackle from the horn bull's horn. If it aimed at Vil-san, I thought he wouldn't be able to evade it in time and would get hit. But my worries turned out to be unfounded. The light is fading? Don't worry, Maki-san. The horn bull's thunder cannon cannot fire in rapid succession, so it's standard to aim just after it fires. Right, I see. As I sighed in relief and raised my head, I saw Vil-san had already beheaded the horn bull. That was fast. Vil is second only to the captain in terms of strength, you know? If it's a magical beast at the edge of the Forest of Demons, he won't fall behind unless it's a direct confrontation. So, that means a head-on fight is dangerous. I reaffirmed that I needed to make proper route choices. Episode 40, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 36. Episode 40, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 36. Now, one thing I was curious about was the materials from the magical beasts. While Rickert-san had disassembled the bullfang she defeated and brought it back with her, we didn't have the time for that this time. If we left unnecessary body parts lying around, other magical beasts would be drawn to the meat, so it was normal to burn it. But, honestly, it feels wasteful. As I was thinking this, Alicia approached the corpse of the magical beast and brought her magical bag closer. Then, whoa, hee, surprised, were you? It really is sucking it in. The opening of the magic bag, being a waste pouch, was very small and not large enough to contain a magical beast. I was wondering how it would fit when, with a sound like a vacuum cleaner, it went so and the beast disappeared entirely inside. Doesn't the shape of what's inside change at all? It's fine. When you take it out, it returns to the shape it had when it was put inside. See? As she said this, Alicia took out the king bear she had just stored. Its form was completely unchanged. I realized again just how convenient this bag was. Well then, let's hurry and move. Following Vilsan's words, the king bear was returned to the magic bag once more. Understood. This way, please. I once again led the way as we headed toward the Forest of Demons. The entrance to the Forest of Demons came into view. I instructed them to stop for a moment, but they both halted on their own. It's huge. I never thought I'd see it with my own eyes. The magical beast that had shocked both Vilsan and Alicia was the very dragon that had breathed fire at me. When I appraised it, it obviously had a proper name. That's a queen dragon. Queen dragon? Oh, it seems like a seriously dangerous magical beast. Dragons have hierarchies as well. I won't go into detail, but the queen is the second highest rank among dragons. Second highest? That's a super dangerous magical beast. We absolutely cannot fight that. It's level 80, after all. No, if it's a dragon, you should run even if it's level 1. It's said that a level 1 dragon is equivalent to a level 10 human. Well, there's always a parent nearby when a dragon is newly born, so we can't get close anyway. Alicia added this extra information, but I had no desire to get near a dragon. So I decided to quietly keep that knowledge in the back of my mind. If the dragon takes off from here, we'll be entering the Forest of Demons. There won't be any magical beasts beyond this point, so we can run through at full speed. After my explanation, there was a period of silence. But finally, the moment arrived. It's taking off. As the dragon flapped its wings widely, a powerful wind rushed toward us, even though it was quite a distance away. I braced myself, digging my feet in to avoid being blown away. The gigantic body, which was hundreds of times larger than a human, lifted off and flew deeper into the Forest of Demons. All right, let's go. When I signaled, the two of them stood up with startled expressions. Rikot-san and Ryan-san were, huh? Wait a moment. What's wrong, Maki-san? Oh man, seriously? We're changing plans. The two of them are moving. As I said this, the display from my appraisal skill suddenly glitched, and the information was completely updated. Damn it. It seems the lack of verification has come back to bite us. But I couldn't dwell on that now. The success rate was still at 10%, so we hadn't failed. I hoped. Looking towards the new strategy, I took off running without worrying about my own safety. This way. Are you sure that's the right way? Please trust me. Vilsan was probably feeling anxious about whether he could trust me. I couldn't blame him, as I didn't have confidence in my own profession either. However, there wasn't time for careful consideration in front of the Forest of Demons. Alicia, I'm going. Vil, let's trust Maki-san for now. Understood. Thank you. Even though I felt I shouldn't be doing this, I continued on without stopping. This means I need to tell Vilsan about my profession soon. As I thought about this, I arrived at the nostalgic Forest of Demons. Episode 41. The Supercommon Hero Summoning 37. Episode 41, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 37. Looking at the forest again, I couldn't help but think how eerie and heavy the atmosphere was. The others seemed to feel the same way, as beads of sweat were now visible on their foreheads, more than earlier. It was understandable, considering this was a forest filled with out-of-the-ordinary magical beasts. I reassured myself and continued to follow the path. Damn it. Why were they near the entrance just a moment ago, but now they're heading deeper and deeper into the forest? Aren't they moving further into the forest? Yes. But something's strange. They're not going straight in, they're zigzagging. Zigzagging, you say? Hearing this, Vilsan furrowed his brow in thought for a moment before offering the worst possible scenario. Perhaps the captain and Rikot are being chased by a magical beast. So, they've already been spotted? Yes, and depending on where they run, they might run into more magical beasts. If there were only one magical beast, We might be able to manage by revealing my ability and working together. But if they got surrounded by multiple magical beasts, there would be nothing we could do. A one-on-one fight is out of the question. The level gap is too large, and no strategy will let us win. No matter what tactics we used, we couldn't win against certain opponents. The magical beasts in this forest are overwhelmingly powerful. And the queen dragon we encountered earlier was proof of that. Makey, how about the surrounding magical beasts? They don't seem to have noticed us yet. Maybe the captain is being cautious of them while fleeing. Given the captain's skills, he could probably sense them. But I'm not sure. From the way Vilsan said it, it didn't seem likely that they were fleeing while keeping an eye on the magical beasts. So why haven't the beasts noticed them yet? Wait. Maybe it's not that they haven't been noted. They've been noticed but aren't being approached. Eye Appraiser, magical beasts near Ryan-san and Rigot-san. I realized a troubling possibility and immediately used appraisal. Even though Vilsan was right next to me, I didn't care. Time was of the essence. What's wrong, Makey-sama? I knew it. Did you figure something out, Makey-san? My fears had come true. Of course, in a forest where magical beasts run rampant, there's no way humans wouldn't be noticed. So why was it that none of the magical beasts, except for one, were approaching? It's because that one magical beast is so overwhelmingly powerful. The beast chasing them is called an Orc Lord. Its level is 70. Wow, 70, and an Orc Lord means it's a higher-ranked version of an Orc. Judging from their shocked reactions, it was clear that this wasn't an ordinary opponent. But why hasn't the Orc Lord killed Rigot-san and the others yet? If they were injured, they'd be slower at escaping. Or could it be that the Orc Lord is a slow-moving beast? Either way, we need to hurry. However, if we proceed, we'll be putting Alicia-sama in danger. Even with the captain and me fighting at full strength, I doubt we could defeat a level 70 Orc Lord. But you're not going to tell me to turn back now, are you? Seriously, this lord is quite the daredevil. Vilsan, I'll explain my ability to you as we go. Are you sure? If I don't, it's unlikely all of us will make it back to Grand Zarwal alive. I nodded silently to Alicia. And while we hurried towards Rigot-san and the others, I revealed everything I knew about my appraiser, Divine Eye, ability. At first, Vil was stunned by each new piece of information. But as he got used to it, he even started asking questions towards the end. Surprisingly, this conversation helped me realize a concern I hadn't noticed before. Specifically, I hadn't paid any attention to whether the amount of mana used in appraisals changed depending on the target. Up until now, I had thought it only used about 1 unit of mana after 5 uses or so. But I quickly opened my status screen to check my mana levels. My mana is already down to 14 without me noticing. The magic consumption might vary depending on what you're appraising. That was close. If it weren't for the magic consumption halving, I'd be completely drained by now. The thought sent a chill down my spine. If I lost the ability to see the guide in the middle of the forest of demons, it would mean certain death. Do you have any magic recovery potions? I'm sorry, Makey-san. We have only a limited number of magic potions, so could you hold on a bit longer? I see. In that case, I'll let you know if my mana drops below 5. Thank you. Alicia nodded firmly in agreement with my words. Makey-sama, there are signs that something has passed through here, Vil said, snapping me back to reality. I followed his gaze. Large footprints were visible. And ahead, the trees had been knocked down. It clearly showed the path of something enormous that had passed through. Episode 42, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 38. Episode 42, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 38. Upon closer inspection of the ground, I notice footprints that appear to be human, in addition to the large ones from the beast. If we follow these tracks, we should be able to catch up with Rigot-san and the others. This way, huh? Wait, Makey-san. Why aren't we going straight? However, I chose a route that veered off the main path. Going straight would let us catch up with them faster, but that would also mean encountering the Orc Lord first before regrouping with Rigot-san and the others. While it's possible to think of it as a pincer attack, I'd prefer to meet up with them first, especially since I'm not sure of their current condition. We'll circle around ahead of them, give them potions, and finish this in one swift strike. Is that approach more likely to succeed? Yes. If we go straight, the success rate drops to 5%. By circling around, it stays at 10%, making this the best option. Still, there's something bothering me from earlier when my display glitched. What could that have been? Maki-sama, let's hurry. Sorry. Right, let's go. There's no point in dwelling on things I don't understand. I instructed Vilsan on the path to take, and we quickly started running. Before long, we heard voices that weren't ours. Run, save yourself. No, Captain. We could hear Rikot-san and the others, but the Orc Lord's voice was unmistakably there as well. We exchanged glances and picked up our speed. Finally, we caught up with them. Rikot-san, huh? Minahiro, Villand. Alicia-sama? The two of them were stunned by our sudden arrival. For now, drink these potions. Then, we'll deal with the Orc Lord. I'll give the orders, just follow my lead. Wait, Mahiro, why are you here? And why should we follow your commands? Just drink it. Why yes. Overwhelmed by our forceful presence, both of them took the potions Alicia handed them and drank them in one go. It seemed that Ryan-san had been injured. But after downing the potion, his wounds healed, and he breathed a sigh of relief. However, the threat wasn't gone yet. In fact, it was approaching us. I'll use my ability to take down the Orc Lord. It may be hard to believe, but Alicia and Vilsan trust me, and we made it this far. So, Rikot-san, Ryan-san, will you? I believe you. I expected some hesitation, but Rikot-san declared her trust in me before I could even finish. That just left Ryan-san. The fact that you're here is proof of your ability. Very well, I'll follow your lead. Thank you so much. Surprised by Ryan-san's quick decision, I immediately turned my attention to the approaching threat. It had finally shown itself. So, this is the Orc Lord. It was the first time I had seen a bipedal magical beast. And standing upright, it was over 3 meters tall, towering even higher than the king bear we'd fought before. But unlike the king bear, the Orc Lord wielded an enormous stone axe far too large for any human to handle. Can magical beasts use weapons? High-level magical beasts sometimes develop greater intelligence. This is especially common with beasts that inhabit the forest of demons. This one. It was watching us flee earlier, looking amused. Ryan-san's longsword trembled with anger in his hand. After defending Gran Zawal for so many years and rising to the rank of captain, the humiliation of being toyed with must sting deeply. That's why I'm determined to help him defeat the Orc Lord. Grua? Feeling scared now that our numbers have grown? You can still run if you want. Of course, it won't be that easy. I didn't really expect it to go that smoothly, though. Alright, here's the plan, Rikot-san, Vilsan, Ryan-san. Hold the Orc Lord back without getting yourselves killed. Yes, Alicia, come with me. Everyone, hold on until we return. Wait, Maki-san. We're going to get something that only Alicia, Glenn, and I know about. With it, we'll definitely win. It seemed like Alicia understood what I was getting at. She quickly turned to the others, raising her voice. Everyone, please trust us. Understood. It makes more sense for them to listen to Alicia, being the Lord and all, rather than me. But still, it stings a little. Let's go, Alicia. Yes. Are you upset about something? I'm not upset. Let's hurry. I'm not upset. Really, I'm not mad at all. Episode 43, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 39. Episode 43, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 39. The reason I separated from the 3 others was to retrieve the special fruits that temporarily boosts abilities. While I could have come to get it alone, we needed enough for all 3 of them. Also, though the 3 soldiers could defend themselves, Alicia couldn't. Protecting someone while also defending yourself is difficult, so it's safer for both of us to stay together. We're almost there. Let's hurry. Right. Even though we had gotten quite far, I could still hear the sounds of battle between the 3 and the Orc Lord behind us. This just showed how intense the fight was. With every minute, every second that passed, their chances of survival were dropping. I couldn't afford to think about unnecessary things right now. Our only focus should be achieving our goal. Alicia, stop. What is it? Maki-san. As we moved further ahead, I signaled her and pointed out a magical beast hiding about 100 meters ahead in the bushes. It was relatively small, but its level was a staggering 50, way beyond our capabilities. Although we were in a hurry, rushing would be fatal. If we died here, the three back there would have no hope of survival either. I forced myself to stay calm and motionless for about a minute. Finally, the magical beast disappeared from sight. We'll have to move slowly from here. There will be more magical beasts ahead. Understood. The distance from the Orc Lord was now considerable. But because we were getting closer to the fruits, we were also encountering more magical beasts. A single wrong turn could lead to our annihilation. Although I was running low on mana, now wasn't the time to worry about conserving it. If I could just hold out until we reached our destination and ate the magic-boosting bananas, then drank a magic potion, we should manage. Right now. Yeah, I still have 7 points of mana left, barely hanging in there. I reassured myself as we pressed forward. We had come far enough that the sounds of battle behind us were no longer audible. Had the three survived? Or were they already dead, and that's why the sounds had stopped? Uncertainty gnawed at me. But we finally reached our destination. These fruits are the ones that temporarily boost your abilities, right? Exactly. Please stuff as many of them into the magic bag as you can. As I quickly explained, Alicia focused intently, packing the fruits into the magic bag as fast as possible. Meanwhile, I ate one of the bananas and checked my status. Yes, my mana went from 7 to 14, and my max limit increased from 30 to 60. Alicia, give me a magic potion. I doubled my magic stat, so now I can recover. Why yes. Alright, my mana is replenished. But this boost is only temporary. And once the effect wears off, my stats will revert. If I hit 0 mana at the wrong moment, I won't be able to find the others. And even if we defeat the Orc Lord, we won't make it back to Gran Zawal. I'll have to be careful to eat the bananas little by little, at the right time. I muttered to myself as I thought over the strategy. I had told Alicia and the others that our success rate was 10%. But in reality, with the ability boosting fruits, it had increased to 15%. We could have used this strategy from the start, but I wasn't sure if I should tell Vilsan about the fruit on my own authority. Still, in an emergency, I had no choice but to push forward with this method. Alicia hadn't questioned me, likely realizing that protecting our lives took priority. Huh? What's wrong, Maki-san? No way. Are you kidding me? We need to get back, Alicia. Eat the grapes, we're running at full speed. Damn it. Why is the success rate dropping now, of all times? Episode 44, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 40. Episode 44, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 40. After eating the grapes, our speed increased. We dashed through the forest of demons, ignoring the magical beasts around us. When I mentioned that the success rate had dropped, Alicia was understandably shocked. Why has it gone down? I don't know either. But if I had to guess, one of the three might have been injured. No. That can't be. Right now, we just need to hurry. Don't worry, it hasn't hit 0 yet. Shouting to reassure both her and myself, I ate a banana and a few more grapes while running. Alicia, on the other hand, only ate the grapes to maintain her speed. I hear it. They're still fighting. Please, let everyone be safe. Alicia's voice was filled with desperate hope as we ran. When the three and the Orc Lord came into view, Alicia let out a scream, almost like a cry of despair. Rickot-chan. Alicia, quickly give Rickot-san a potion. I'll distract the Orc Lord. Huh? Maki-san. Before she could even finish, I popped a few more grapes into my mouth and charged forward. Both Vilsan and Ryan-san were already covered in wounds, and there was no way they could hold out until Rickot-san recovered. Naturally, Alicia was shocked to see a non-combatant like me suddenly throwing myself in front of the Orc Lord. Ryan-san, seeing this, tried to move forward to protect me. But he froze, stunned, with his mouth hanging open in disbelief. What is that movement? Huh? Isn't Maki-sama supposed to be just an appraiser? An appraiser? Moving like that? Of course, you'd be surprised. Ryan's speed stat was in the 90s. But right now, my speed had shot up to over 200, more than double his. The Orc Lord's speed was 155, so I was faster. It made me perfect for disrupting its movements. Vil-san, Ryan-san, please step back. Get potions and fruits from Alicia. Fruits? You too, quickly over here. Why yes. Yes, as expected of Alicia and her lordship. They moved efficiently. Whoa. Focus, focus. Grrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr he thought was easy to kill, was now darting around unpredictably. But that frustration was exactly what I wanted. The angrier the Orc Lord got, the more he'd focus on trying to kill me. That would make it easier for the others, who had boosted their stats with fruit, to attack him. While I could technically increase my strength and attack too, swinging a sword as an amateur would only expose me to unnecessary risks. It was better to leave the attacking to the experts and focus on what I could do best. Come on. Come at me. I dodged the Orc Lord's massive stone axe with ease. And as I danced around him, I shoved another banana and some grapes into my mouth before the 5-minute timer was up. Of course, that enraged him even more. His eyes bloodshot, breathing heavy. The Orc Lord was determined to kill me with even fiercer attacks. But this was exactly what I had been waiting for. Now's our chance. Attack him all at once. Thank you, Maki-sama. Thanks a ton, Mahiro. Ryan-san, Vil-san, and the now recovered Rikot-san leapt at the Orc Lord with a speed that far surpassed my own. After eating just 2 grapes, their already high-speed stats surpassed mine. Combined with their increased strength, the outcome was inevitable. Yes, a single hit could be fatal at this point. In a matter of moments, the Orc Lord's right leg and both arms were severed, and a pool of blood began forming at his feet. His bloodshot eyes drifted away from me as his body slumped forward. But sensing something in front of him, he slowly raised his head. Standing there was someone completely unexpected. Alicia. This time, it was my turn to be shocked. It wasn't the Knight and Silver Knight trio that was standing in front of the Orc Lord. It was Alicia, the mage and the lord of the territory. Wait, a mage? My magic has now exceeded 300. This is more than enough to finish off the Orc Lord. She had pulled out a staff from her magic bag, a staff adorned with a deep crimson gem. From that gem, a massive, blazing fireball began to take form. Wait, hold on a second. Get blown away. Wait a minute, I'm still nearby. Fireball. In a panic, I quickly stuffed some grapes into my mouth and sprinted away from the scene at full speed. Just after I did, a massive explosion erupted behind me, and a wave of heat hit my back. Episode 45, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 41. Episode 45, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 41. Whoa, it's so As I was blown away, I found myself caught by someone. Feeling something soft against my face, I was relieved that I wasn't thrown onto something hard. Maybe because I was relieved, my body relaxed, and I tried to sink into the soft spot beneath me. Hey, Mahiro. Huh? Rikot-san? Hi. You don't move weirdly like that. What? Is this her chest? I'm sorry, Rikot-san. I hurriedly pulled my face away to apologize, but then someone grabbed me by the scruff of my neck from behind. What are you doing, Maki-en? Alicia? No, this is a misunderstanding. I was blown away because you cast such a huge spell while I was nearby. HMPH. Are you okay, Rikot-chan? Hey, are you just going to ignore me? Why yes. I'm fine, it's nothing like this. No, you can't be persuasive at all with your face all red and your chest puffed out. By the way, where's the Orc Lord? I quickly turned around. There, in the center of a large crater, lay the charred remains of the Orc Lord. What is this crater? I couldn't control it. That was a level 70 Orc Lord. Yeah, that's understandable. But I'm surprised it got this intense once your magic exceeded 300. Around the Orc Lord, there was a 10-meter radius that had sunken and was charred. When you just hear the name Fireball, you might think it's a beginner-level spell or something simple. But it seems it's not like that at all. Alicia-sama. The disassembly of the Orc Lord is finished. Could you come here, please? Oh. Understood. Rikot-san and I followed Alicia over to where Vil-san and Ryan-san were. As soon as the materials from the disassembled or clawed were placed into the magic bag, everyone downed their potions and prepared to return to Grand Zawal. At that moment, boom! A tremendous explosion sounded from deep within the forest of demons. What's happening? Are the magical beasts fighting each other? Alicia-sama, let's hurry and escape. Wait. That was probably magic. Magic? The three of them gasped in unison. Well, that's understandable. We're in the forest of demons, and it's hard for anyone to step in without going through Grand Zawal. With that kind of explosion, there's no doubt a powerful magic user was involved. But was there such a mage among the soldiers? No, if there were, the three soldiers wouldn't have missed noticing it. At that moment, my appraisal skill began to exhibit irregularities once more. However, unlike before, it wasn't garbled text with its contents refreshed, it simply displayed in bold letters. Emergency mission. While envisioning a certain possibility in my mind, I tapped on the item labeled Emergency Mission. Hey. I knew it. What's wrong, Maki-san? Alicia reacted to my words and called out to me. The others were also looking over, curious about what was happening. I found out the cause of that explosion. And assisting with that cause is my mission. What do you mean? Please explain properly, Maki-san. That explosion was caused by someone from another world, just like me. In other words, someone has been teleported into the forest of demons again. Yes, the contents of the emergency mission were, rescue the Otherworlder. Episode 46, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 42. Episode 46, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 42. While everyone was still processing the shock, the first to regain composure was Alicia, who knew I was from another world. But, according to your story, the remaining individuals should be intermediate class or higher, right? That's true, but if they encounter someone troublesome, it's only natural for them to deal with it. I see. That could certainly be the case. My appraisal skill states that the emergency mission is, rescue the Otherworlder. Until now, I had choices. But this time it is played as an order. I could probably ignore it. It might be more certain to help Alicia and the others that way. However, for some reason, I felt that if I ignored this order now, it would remain a lingering regret within me. Everyone, this is my selfish request, but can you lend me your strength? I felt like Alicia would nod in agreement. But the other three wouldn't feel the same, especially Ryan-san, who was meeting me for the first time today. He would prioritize protecting Alicia, the Lord. In the worst-case scenario, I might have to go rescue my classmates alone. I'll help my hero. I'll join you too. If my subordinates are going, then it wouldn't be appropriate for me, as their superior, to run away. Everyone. Are you sure about this? I was taken aback by their immediate responses and ended up asking back. However, hearing their answers made it feel like the most natural thing. Because, Alicia-sama, our lord, is eager to go. Let's go, Maki-san. Seeing Alicia, full of determination, I couldn't help but laugh. Then, I bowed my head and expressed my gratitude to the four of them. Thank you. Well then, let's each eat the necessary fruits before heading out. Since magic was used, there should be magical beasts there. And with the sound of that explosion, it wouldn't be surprising if even more magical beasts had gathered. Alicia and I ate bananas, followed by grapes, while the three soldiers had grapes and apples. The apples were bigger than the grapes, making it seem like they were having a hard time eating them. But since they needed to double their abilities to fight the magical beasts in the forest of demons, it couldn't be helped. However, quite some time had passed since I was transported to the forest of demons. The fact that someone was transported again at this point likely meant something went very wrong. Who could be so reckless as to get transported like that? Were there any delinquents in the same class? Thinking about it, I couldn't come up with anyone. There was no way the four with special class professions would come. And if they could easily be discarded, it would likely be the intermediate class individuals. Well, I guess we'll find out when we get there. Helping wouldn't put me at a disadvantage. If it did, I wouldn't help anymore from then on. Maki-san, we're ready. Alright, let's go. I followed the directions and ventured deeper into the forest. There were no signs of magical beasts around, and it seemed they were starting to gather toward the location of the earlier explosion. Even if we were to help, We might first need to eliminate or ignore these magical beasts to get through. Speaking of which, I wondered what the success rate was for this mission. It didn't seem like it would still be at the 10% it was earlier. So I decided to check. What is this display? In the previous strategy, only one probability was displayed. However, this time, two extreme numbers appeared, 0 or 100. This is definitely a situation where failure is not an option. As I scratched my head and continued following the instructions, I noticed more and more magical beasts coming into view. I wanted to check whether defeating or ignoring the magical beasts would yield a higher success rate, but... Hey, what's going on here? Whether I choose one or the other, it's either 0 or 100. That means our actions will decide everything. At the same time, it also meant that everyone's lives depended on my choice. Episode 47, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 43. Episode 47, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 43. What should I do? Yeah, I can't decide this solely by myself. Hey everyone, I have something to discuss. I informed them that the success rate was either 0 or 100 and that the display was the same whether we defeated the magical beasts or ignored them. Then, I consulted them on which choice seemed more likely to succeed. As I began to think while moving, the first to provide their opinion was Ryan-san, a seasoned soldier. I believe it would be better to rush through. What's your reasoning? Yes. The mage fighting ahead is likely at least in advanced class. The fact that they're still alive surrounded by this many magical beasts proves that it's not guaranteed that there's only one other worlder. What's the possibility of multiple intermediate class individuals? In response to my question, Ryan-san smiled wryly. That would actually work to our advantage. We have fruits that can temporarily boost our abilities. I see, I understood Ryan-san's reasoning. So if we ally with the other worlder ahead and have them eat the fruits before taking down the magical beasts, it would increase our survival chances, right? Exactly. Knight professions like us excel in one-on-one combat but are at a disadvantage in one versus multiple situations. However, mages can attack over a wide area with their magic, making them essential against multiple magical beasts. Thinking about how great it would be if the other worlder up ahead was friendly, I realized that prioritizing survival meant I should accept Ryan-san's proposal. Got it. Then. Alright, the guidance has appeared. We're going to dash through, so follow me. Understood, Maki-san. Just so you know, we're faster than you, my hero. So there's no way we'll fall behind. Is that so? I just ate quite a few grapes. Well, our base stats are so different that just one grape is enough for us. Vil-san added to Rikut-san's words. Yeah, that's true. Now that I think about it, Alicia didn't eat that many bananas, yet she had over 300 magic stats. Alright, let's go. Did he just accepted the situation? What other choice do I have? It would be a waste to spend any more time. While telling myself that in my mind, I charged straight into the swarm of magical beasts ahead. Javara, Pyroru. Various magical beasts were startled and made cries as we dashed past them. But we didn't look back and moved straight ahead. I was filled with a small hope and a large amount of anxiety about who we might find up ahead, when I finally caught sight of them. Hey, wait, no way. There, leaning against a large tree and bleeding from all over, was the most unexpected person. Someone with a strong sense of justice, always thinking about everyone else. I called out the name of the person who had always raised their voice for me and would never abandon the others. Akige-sensei. My hero. Is that you, Fusha? Before I could reach out my hand, before Akige-sensei could extend hers, the fangs of a serpent magical beast lunged at her. Stop it! Thunderbolt buzzed. However, the serpent magical beast was suddenly struck by the descending lightning and collapsed in front of Akige-sensei, letting out a black breath. What just happened? Ha! 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 As I pondered that, Akige-sensei seemed to lose strength in her body and sank to her knees, sliding down the tree. Alicia. Get a potion for Akige-sensei, for her. Why yes. From the look on Alicia's face, it didn't seem like the lightning was her magic. I guess there's no point in thinking about it here. First, I need to help Akige-sensei escape from the forest of demons, and then figure it all out later. Episode 48, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 44. Episode 48, the Supercommon Hero Summoning 44. Akige-sensei drank the potion that Alicia offered without any doubt. From my perspective, knowing the potion's effects, it's only natural for the injuries to heal, but Akige-sensei seemed surprised as it was her first time drinking it and she looked at the injured areas on her body in astonishment. Akige-sensei, I'm glad you're okay. Mahiro-kun. Mahiro-kun, Mahiro-kun. Ah, I'm so glad. It's great that you're okay. That's something I should be saying as a teacher. That's certainly true. Since I was guided to a different room and transferred that day, I must have caused her a lot of worry. But even so, it hurts. I am really hurting here. I'm so sorry. With incredible strength, she hugged me. And as soon as she released me, I started coughing repeatedly. Cough. Cough. No, it's fine. I want to hear more details. But first, we need to escape this forest. So can I ask for your cooperation, Sensei? Of course. After all, I'm a quad mage, an advanced class. Quad mage? Whoa. Alicia and the others gasped in unison. Ryan-san had expected her to be an advanced class. If even him was surprised, then being a quad mage must be quite an impressive profession. For now, please eat this fruit. The grapes will double your speed, and the bananas will double your magic. There are such fruits. Oh, and keep this fruit a secret. Make sure not to mention it in the city we're heading to. Got it. While her quick understanding is quite helpful, I can't help but wonder why she's so readily agreeing. Noticing my doubt, she chuckled softly and explained. Mahiro-kun, you like games and books, right? So, I thought trusting you would be the right choice. You noticed that much about me? Of course. If something like that happened in class, it would be impossible not to notice. I'm sorry. I never expected to be reminded of class even after being transported to another world. Shouldn't we be leaving soon? It was Alicia who timidly spoke up. She might have thought she shouldn't interrupt our conversation. But her point was perfectly reasonable, so I didn't mind. Right. Let's hurry back. What should I do? As Sensei stood up with me, she asked this question. I told her I needed her to clear out the magical beasts that appeared in our path with magic. Understood. Thanks to the potion and banana, I'm feeling invigorated. It seems I can really enjoy myself now. Was Sensei always like this? I intend to keep my work and private life separate. So that means her private life is quite chaotic, huh? But I guess that makes her more reliable. As I murmured with a wry smile, we dashed through the forest following the guidance. At this point, I let out a sigh of relief. This is because the success rate displayed in the guidance had become 100% after saving Sensei. As I was careful not to let my mana drop to 0, I left the magical beasts blocking our path to Sensei. As expected of an advanced class quad mage, her spells were diverse, ranging from fire to water, wind, and lightning. Sensei, did you defeat the snake magical beast that attacked you earlier? That's right. I was about to give up. But when I saw you, Mahiro-kun, I thought I had to keep trying. If it had been delayed a bit longer, I would have been swallowed whole by that snake. That's not something you should say so casually. However, if that had happened, we wouldn't have been safe either. So it seems it really was a close call. Sensei's magic was powerful enough to take down the magical beasts at the entrance of the enchanted forest in a single blow. And when I peeked at her status with my appraisal skill, I saw that her level was rising at an astonishing rate. The first time I found her, her level was 7. And now it is more than doubled to 15. By the way, I'm still stuck at level 2. It's really dangerous, and yet I'm still level 2. If you don't fight, your level won't increase at all. The others were leveling up too. Alicia was at level 23, Rikot-san was at level 19, Vil-san was at level 27, and Ryan-san was at level 32. Should I at least try attacking once? That's way too dangerous, Maki-san. That's right. You haven't even eaten an apple, so you'd just get bounced back. Let's not do that, Maki-sama. Let's leave this to her magic. Leave it to me, Mahiro-kun. It's my job to protect my students. Having been opposed by everyone, I ultimately escaped the forest of demons without gaining a single level. Episode 49. The Supercommon Hero Summoning 45. Episode 49, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 45. Hey. Are you okay? A voice called out from atop the outer wall of Gran's Owl. We could see the soldiers on guard from our position, so we all waved back. Although the potion had healed our wounds, our clothes were tattered. So the soldier from a distance must have been quite worried. As soon as the gate opened, we were led inside. Inside, a bearded, tough-looking soldier stood with a surprised expression. What happened? What do you mean, what happened? That's a strange question. We just rescued Captain Ryan and Soldier Rickott and came back. Why yeah, that's true. Right, I suppose that's correct. As the tough-looking soldier with the beard tried to walk over to us, Ryan-san stepped in front of Alicia for some reason. A tense atmosphere began to flow, and it was Ryan-san who spoke first. I believe it was you, Gimlet, who reported hearing the roar of a magical beast. That's right. I'm really glad you're okay, Captain. Indeed. However, despite hearing the roar of a magical beast, there were no magical beasts approaching Gran's Owl. What do you have to say about that? Is that true, Captain Ryan? Alicia sought confirmation of Ryan's words. Gimlet, the bearded soldier, was sweating profusely as he watched the exchange between the two. I can't believe it, but Gimlet, you didn't send false information in order to seize the captain's position, did you? There's no way I would do that. I definitely heard the roar of a magical beast. I see. Then could you tell us what kind of roar it was? That is. Seeing Gimlet hesitating there, it seemed that Ryan-san was indeed correct. By the way, is there anyone else besides Gimlet who heard the roar of a magical beast? At Ryan-san's call, no one stepped forward. I quietly asked Vilcoma-san, who had come to deliver a message to Alicia's mansion. Who did you hear about the magical beasts from, Vil-san? I'm sorry. I only heard it as a report. However, it was Gimlet who instructed me to tell Alicia-sama. Wow. This clearly seems like a setup. It's likely that Ryan-san approached the Forest of Demons to investigate the roar of the magical beast. But he found no sign of any magical beasts. He could have turned back at that point, but perhaps he ventured deeper. And unfortunately, encountered the Orc Lord. However, this choice leaves one question lingering. You may not know this, but normally, the roar of a magical beast doesn't reach all the way to Gran's Owl. And no way. That can't be. I definitely heard the roar of a magical beast. Perhaps you heard it secondhand. However, when magical beasts actually approach from the Forest of Demons, they don't roar. They simply draw closer, and it's often only when you see them that you realize what's happening. No way that's true. Gimlet, you've wasted your years. You always strut around within the safely fortified walls. That's why you overlooked the truth happening on the ground. Upon hearing this, Gimlet dropped to his knees and hung his head. I see, that explains why his level is low for his age. In that case, Captain Ryan, why did you go to scout the Forest of Demons even knowing it was a lie? When Alicia voiced the question I was also pondering. Ryan-san smiled and replied clearly. We can't tell if it's a lie or the truth unless we check it ourselves. The Forest of Demons can easily exceed our imaginations. Just like with the Orc Lord this time. When the name of the Orc Lord was mentioned, the nearby soldiers began to murmur among themselves. The Orc Lord is that dangerous of an opponent? Being the king of the Orcs, it's not something we could typically defeat on our own. It seems I need to think about how to explain this to everyone. I have to keep the fruits that temporarily boost abilities a secret. But we also had almost no chance of winning without them, so I couldn't come up with an excuse. Just then, someone stepped up next to Ryan-san. I helped with that. I'm an advanced class quad mage, you know. It seemed that Akige-sensei had made a surprising improvisation. Reading the room. Episode 50, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 46. Episode 50, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 46. After that, things got pretty hectic. Thanks to Akige-sensei, the secret about the fruit that temporarily boosts abilities remained hidden. But then we had to explain where and how the teacher had come from. Fortunately, Alicia stepped in, saying she was tired and needed rest. It allowed us to return to the mansion for now. I'm sorry, should I call you Akige-sama? Oh no, there's no need to add apostrophe sama to it. Just call me Haruka, then. Haruka-san? That works fine. Seeing Akige-sensei smile warmly, Alicia let out a relieved sigh. It was just the three of us, myself, Alicia, and Akige-sensei, while the three soldiers had stayed behind the gate to report on what had happened. But still, why were you transported, sensei? I mean, I get it for me, being a beginner class appraiser. But you're an advanced quad mage, aren't you? When I asked that, it was the first time I learned how my own disappearance has been explained. No, even though I love stories about other worlds and cheats, suddenly being transported to an unknown land and having to survive alone, without even leaving the royal castle? That's ridiculous, right? I tried to ask about you several times. But in the middle of it all, the room suddenly filled with light, and I was there in that place. I see. I'm sorry for worrying you. It's not your fault, Mahiro-kun. Besides, in the end, I worried everyone else too. Especially Yukio-san. Alright. How is Madoka doing? I had been wanting to ask about Madoka's current situation for a while. But when I brought it up, Sensei's expression darkened slightly. She hasn't been doing very well, especially after you disappeared. It seems to have taken a toll on her emotionally. Kondo-san is looking after her, so I think she'll be fine. But I just hope she doesn't do anything reckless like I did. I see. Hearing about Madoka's condition made me happy to know what was happening, but also sad to learn she wasn't doing well. She's a special class, so she could easily get whatever she wants. Yet she's down just because I'm gone. Come on, pull yourself together. So, Mahiro-kun, what do you plan to do now? What do I plan to do? Yes. You're worried about Yukio-san, right? Sensei's question made me think. Sure, I'm worried about Madoka, but it's not like I can do anything about it right now. Unless she comes here through a transfer, I'd have to cross 2 entire nations to get to Shridden. I'm worried, but I've got my hands full with my own situation right now. Maybe that's why I could only give a vague answer. You're right. I'm sorry, Mahiro-kun. You've had enough to deal with on your own, and here I am asking strange questions. Well, it was tough at first, and I'm still pretty busy. But I'm managing better now. Is that so? Yeah, because, as I spoke, I lightly patted Alicia's shoulder. Now I have Alicia and her brother Glenn with me. Alicia, who had been looking a bit down for some reason, was suddenly startled but then smiled warmly. Us? Yeah. Without you, I wouldn't have been able to enter Gran Zawal, and I might not have even known about my profession. Meeting you changed my life, Alicia. I see. Alicia-san, thank you so much for helping Mahiro-kun. Alicia was flustered. She tried to get Sensei to lift her head. No, I just did what anyone would. Besides, I realized you and Maki-san were from another world, so it just made sense. Regardless of the reason, you still helped. Sensei lifted her head and repeatedly thanked Alicia while holding her hands. Honestly, I'm so glad Akige-sensei is safe. And I'm glad she's getting along with Alicia. Oh. Alicia, look. Glenn is waving at us. As we neared the mansion gates, we saw Glenn running out. He waved eagerly, clearly having been waiting for our return. Nei-san. Maki. Wait, who's that? That's a good question, we all said at once, laughing heartily at Glenn's understandable confusion over the unfamiliar face. After giving Glenn a brief explanation, we decided to rest for a bit. The detailed conversation can wait until tomorrow. We have plenty of time. Episode 51, The Royal Castle 4. Episode 51, The Royal Castle 4. Bang! In the room where the royal family had previously held their secret discussions, Gozef slammed his fist on the lavishly decorated table. Why? The hero still hasn't manifested that power yet. Please, calm down, my dear. Amanda tried to soothe him. How can I stay calm? It's been nearly 3 months since we summoned them. And all we've done is sit around waiting for that power to appear. Without that power, the kingdom of Shridden can't dominate the world. That's the sole reason they summoned 31 people from another world. Could it be that Haruka, the one we banished, had the potential for it? Gozef wondered aloud. That's impossible, father. The sharp voice came from Ria, who sought to correct him. And how can you be so sure? Because that power only manifests in those with a special class. I see. In that case, it couldn't have been Haruka. Exactly. She was just an advanced class. Someone like that could never awaken such power. With Gozef calming down, Amanda breathed a sigh of relief. However, the fact remained that the power had yet to awaken, leaving a lingering source of concern. But wait. Does this mean there's a chance that Madoka or Yuria could awaken it? The possibility isn't zero. But if they refuse to cooperate, we can deal with them accordingly. That's true, but there was a reason behind Gozef's hesitation. Summoning the heroes required vast resources, including a great amount of mana. The kingdom of Shridden had to mobilize multiple magicians to conduct the ritual. And in the process, several of them lost their lives from the strain of having their mana drained. Surely, Kuya-sama or Arata-sama will awaken that power. Once they do, Shridden will stand at the pinnacle of the world. She's right, dear. There's no need to worry about those two any longer. Yes, indeed. After all, we already sent them to the Forest of Demons. 3 days prior, both Madoka and Yuria had been transported to the Forest of Demons. When their disappearance was noticed, everyone, including Kuya and Arata, demanded an explanation. The royals had lied, saying that the two had left to search for Maki and Haruka, who had already been sent away. Normally, someone might have doubted such an explanation. But now, every one of them was under the influence of Gozef's charisma skill, and they simply accepted it. Even if they share the same charisma skill, it's easy to persuade developing children. True enough. Just waiting idly seems a bit boring. Dear, why don't we declare war on the neighboring kingdom? Even if that power hasn't awakened yet. With the strength of the hero and the sword saint, we should be able to conquer them. Yes, that's a fine idea, Gozef agreed, his mood now fully restored as he and Amanda laughed together. Maria smiled outwardly. But inside, she was mocking her parents, the king and queen. What fools! It's painful to think these two are my parents. Maria had been plotting to one day seize the throne of Shridden herself. She excused herself and left the room. With the hero and the sword saint, conquering the neighboring kingdom is certainly possible. However, if the other nations see Shridden as a threat and form alliances against us, we'll be the ones to fall. As she walked down the hallway, deep in thought, she heard a familiar voice call her name from ahead. Maria-sama. Oh my, isn't it Kuya-sama? Kuya had fallen in love with Maria. But it wasn't a natural affection. Maria had implanted this feeling in him using her magic eye. Any lingering emotions Kuya might have had for Madoka were now completely forgotten. He had once thought his charisma skill would be enough to outwit others. But when pitted against Maria's magic eye and her far superior charisma skill, it was easy for her to turn him into a puppet. Please awaken soon, Kuya-sama. Awaken to that power, the one that bears a divine name. Maria had forgotten something. And so had Gozef and Amanda. They had all overlooked the existence of the appraiser, Mihira Maki, who had been the first to be sent away. Episode 52, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 47. Episode 52, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 47. The day after a well-deserved rest, I spent the morning answering Glenn's barrage of questions. Of course, my first question is about this person here. Maki, you seem familiar with her. Could it be that she's from another world? When I went to the Forest of Demons, she just happened to get transferred there at the same time. Jay just happened to. I'm Haruka Akigase. Thank you very much for helping my student. Perhaps because an older woman bowed to him, Glenn suddenly became flustered, mumbling for her to lift her head. It didn't help that both Alicia and Rikot-san were also present, their gazes seemingly piercing into him. Well, now that I know Akigase-san's identity, that's the end of this question. Thank you. You're very kind, Glenn, Haruka said with a radiant smile, causing Glenn's face to redden and break into an awkward grin. Well, Sensei was a popular and beautiful teacher back in our world, so it was no surprise Glenn was flustered by her smile. However, he didn't seem to notice the intense stares from the two women beside him. Anyway, let's hear Rikot-san's report. You're okay with that, Glenn? Of course. Honestly, are all men like this? Please don't ask me that, Rikot-san. Haha, sorry. I thought I felt a little sorry for Glenn. I couldn't help him. So I decided to just listen to Rikot-san's report. The most important thing is that there are no signs of a monster invasion. So, it really was all part of Gimlet's plot. Yes. He admitted it was all to take Ryan's position as captain of the guards. Apparently, it was well known that Ryan-san, the most skilled soldier in Grand's Wall, would naturally be the one to scout. Gimlet had planned to take advantage of that to eliminate him. But that guy's level was pretty low for his age. How did he expect to succeed Ryan-san? Ryan's skills were exceptional, so no one opposed his position. But normally, promotions follow seniority, and Gimlet likely just ran out of patience. So, you just got caught up in all of this, Rigot-chan? Yes. Though, I did aspire to be like Captain Ryan, so. At that moment, Glenn, who had been red-faced earlier, suddenly became serious and turned to Rigot-san. Rigot, about the slimy insect incident. I truly apologize once again. Huh? Why bring that up now? You've already apologized. I know. But when I heard you hadn't returned from the Forest of Demons, I realized I hadn't apologized sincerely enough. You didn't need to. But thank you for worrying about me. Hee. Glenn and Rigot-san are definitely giving off good vibes. Even Alicia seemed to be watching with a warm smile, making it clear this was a relationship she approved of. Anyway. About Ikige-sama. Right, that's something important for both of you, isn't it? Perhaps feeling embarrassed, Rigot-san was trying to change the subject. Glenn also jumped in. Exchanging amused glances with Alicia and Sensei, we turned our attention back to the matter at hand. Since Ikige-sama is of an advanced class, there's been talk of hiring her in Grand Zawal. But because the discussion happened in front of the gate, word spread to the adventurers. And now there's a bit of a competition over her. Oh my, I seem to be quite popular. Even intermediate classes are relatively rare here, and advanced classes are extremely valuable. Well, I don't want to make you feel bad, Mihiro-kun, but everyone else from our world was at least an intermediate class, right? Well, yeah, that's true. I wanted to say, actually, I'm of special class. But for now, I needed to focus on deciding what to do with Sensei. But Rigot-san, Sensei doesn't have to choose to become a soldier or an adventurer, right? Of course. We will respect Ikige-sama's wishes. Then I choose to stay with Mihiro-kun, to protect him. Wait, please don't. I came to this other world to enjoy it freely, on my own terms. The last thing I wanted was to have a teacher, or worse, a guardian, following me around in another world. But why? I've been so worried about you, Mihiro-kun. I appreciate the concern, but I want to do what I want to do here. And what exactly do you plan on doing? Well, first of all, there might be more people who get transferred to the Forest of Demons, so I thought I'd help them out or something. To be honest, helping out new arrivals wasn't my main goal. But I figured telling Sensei this would make things easier. Why? Because that's wonderful. I'll help with that too. Thanks. So when others get transferred here, you can take care of them, right? Of course. With that, it seemed like her protective instincts were redirected from me to any future students who might get transferred to this world. Come on, guys. Don't look at me like that. This is the best solution I could come up with. Episode 53, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 48. Episode 53, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 48. The discussion at the mansion wrapped up. And now, leaving Glenn behind, the four of us headed to the barracks. It seemed that Ryan-san was also interested in hearing more from Sensei, according to Rigot-san. However, the guild master from the Adventurers Guild was also present. And apparently, they were planning to try and recruit Sensei right there. Don't worry. As long as Mihiro-kun is on Alicia-san's side, I won't become your enemy. If I look at it another way, does that mean if Maki-san becomes an enemy, Haruko-san will also be our enemy? Yes, that's how it would be. But that will never happen, so don't worry. Alicia had been looking at me with concern. After hearing that, she let out a relieved sigh. Hey, Sensei. Don't go scaring Alicia like that. My apologies. But it's important to understand that such possibilities exist, right? That's true. Thank you for your guidance, Haruko-san. Note, the phrase is Goshido arigato gozaimasu. This phrase is a polite and respectful way often used to express gratitude to someone in a teaching or mentoring role. Oh, no need to thank me. Note, and this one is a casual and polite way to respond to someone, often used to downplay gratitude or apologize in a humble manner. Now that I think about it, I don't know anything about Sensei's private life. Maybe the other students know, but I just never paid attention. As I pondered such things, We arrived at the barracks in no time. Vilsan was waiting at the entrance and guided us to a room where Ryan-san and the guildmaster were waiting. When we entered, whoa, they were glaring at each other intensely across the table. "Excuse me, Captain." "Ah, you've come. Oh. So you're the girl with the advanced class. How about it? Why don't you become an adventurer and work under me?" "I have no intention of becoming either an adventurer or a soldier. I want to make that perfectly clear." Oh, okay. And once again, Sensei was the one with nerves of steel. "Yep. First, Ryan-sama, can you tell me why I was called here? Rikot-sama mentioned you wanted to discuss yesterday's incident, but I haven't heard any specifics." Yes. That's right. Sorry, but Goritsu, could you step back for now? Hey, Goritsu. I like her. What? Guildmaster, what exactly did you like about that exchange? That courage to speak her mind in front of me, truly worthy of an advanced class. How about it, young lady? I'll back off for now, but can I formally invite you to join the adventurers later? Goritsu, if it's in a formal setting, I'll be happy to listen. However, I will bring Mihiro-kun along with me when that time comes. Is that acceptable? Wait, Sensei. Of course. No problem at all. Gahaha. See you around, Ryan. With a hearty laugh, the guildmaster left the room. Well, that was. He was like a storm. Wasn't he? He seemed like an interesting person. Wait, Sensei. Do you like guys like that? Whether I like them or not has nothing to do with whether they're interesting. I see. As I was chatting with Sensei, Ryan-san cleared his throat. So I turned my attention back to him. My apologies, Ryan-sama. No worries. Anyway, let's get to the matter at hand. But first, Maki-sama. Yes. Wait, Sama? I was surprised when Ryan-san, who was much older than me and the captain of the soldiers, suddenly addressed me with such respect. He stood up. And then to my shock, he bowed his head deeply. What are you doing? Please, lift your head. I owe you my deepest gratitude for saving my life and Rikot's. Without you, not only I but my valuable subordinates would have perished. No, really, please lift your head. I will never forget this debt. If there's anything I can do for you, I will give my utmost to assist you. What's going on here? I glanced over at Rikot-san who had come with us. And she seemed equally confused, her gaze darting between me and Ryan-san. It seems like they've misunderstood and think I saved both of them. Captain Ryan. Please, raise your head. The truth is, I couldn't have saved either of you alone. It was thanks to Alicia-san and Vilsan that we all survived without falling to the Orc Lord's threat. Everyone made it through because we fought together. But, no buts. That's the reality. So instead of bowing your head to me, raise it, and show me a smile. Maki-sama. Thank you. I know it sounds a bit cheesy, but I had to make the truth clear. My power may be effective against weaker opponents when I'm alone. But when it comes to stronger foes, it's almost useless unless I choose to run away. In fact, if I can't even manage to escape, I'd have to be prepared for death. That's why having comrades is so important. Because everyone survived, the ability of my appraiser, Divine Eye, could actually be useful. Well then, let's go over what happened in the Forest of Demons. Yes, sir. There's no need for such a formal reply. It's starting to feel like I'm the boss or something. Episode 54, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 49. Episode 54, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 49. There are only 6 of us involved in this conversation. Since everyone here knows that Sensei and I are from another world, and about the fruit that temporarily boosts abilities, there's nothing to hide as we go over everything. However, the only one unaware of my appraiser, Sensei Ai, ability was Sensei, so I explained it to her. Mihiro-kun. If you had such an ability, why didn't you mention it back then? It's fine because you're alive. But you could have died, you know. Well, I didn't expect to be thrown aside on the first day of the summoning. That's not something you can brush off with I didn't expect it. I'm sorry. As you can see, Sensei was furious. Well, I admit I acted rashly. But I don't think it's something to get that mad about. However, Haruka-san, if he had mentioned it at the royal castle, the king of Shridden would have squeezed everything he could out of him. and once he had no more use for him, he probably would have been disposed of. Indeed. In fact, you could say it was quite fortunate that you transferred at this timing. At this timing? When I questioned Ryan-san's words, it was Vil-san who answered. It's the regular attack by magical beasts. When that occurs, magical beasts always become more active in the Forest of Demons. We believe territorial disputes among the magical beasts happen regularly, and the next cycle was still far off. So you're saying it was a quiet period for the beasts? Exactly. I see. That explains why I didn't encounter any magical beasts in the area I transferred to. If I had run into them right after transferring, I probably would have been killed. I really was lucky. Wait, luck? Speaking of which, my luck stat is unusually high. Can I ask what your luck stats are? Luck. It doesn't increase even with level ups, so your initial value is what you're stuck with for life. Mine is 20.20, that's actually quite high. I only have 10. Alicia has 20, while Rikot-san has 10. I asked Ryan-san and Vil-san as well, and they both said they had 15 each. And what about Akige-sensei? Mine is 35. I wonder if people from other worlds tend to have higher luck? Maybe it's because I have ancestors from another world that my luck is also high. If 20 is considered high, and Sensei has 35 as another otherworlder, then my stat is ridiculously abnormal. By the way, how high is your luck stat, Maki-san? It's 100. Excuse me? I said it's 100. What? Yep, they had the exact reaction I expected. Maki-san, are you serious about having 100 luck? Yeah, it's true. Maybe I transferred at this exact time because of my high luck. Anyway, moving on. Wait, this isn't something you can just move on from so easily, Maki-sama. I thought so. Could it be that I was saved when I lost consciousness because of Mihiro's high luck? No, I don't think that had anything to do with it. I have a feeling that everything's going to start being chalked up to my high luck. But I'd like to believe defeating the Bullfang was thanks to my profession, not luck. So, Maki-san, being exiled from Shridden, surviving in the Forest of Demons, meeting us, and even surviving yesterday, all of it was thanks to your high luck. And also because you were able to make use of your appraiser, divine eye, profession. Alicia? I called out to Alicia, who suddenly started muttering to herself. But then she abruptly looked up at me, making me jump a little. Maki-san. Why yes. Maki-san, your high luck is part of what makes you, you. Well, yeah, I guess. Why is she smiling silently like that? It's kind of scary, actually. Surely, Mihiro-kun's high luck also influences the success rate of his appraiser, divine eye, ability. So with not only his profession, but also his high luck helping us, you want to thank him for it? Exactly. Why is Sensei suddenly the translator here? That's a secret. For some reason, it's become crystal clear to me that Sensei is someone I absolutely must not make an enemy of. Episode 55, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 50. Episode 55, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 50. Even though the conversation derailed a bit because of me, things generally proceeded without major issues. As for Gimlet's punishment, he was dismissed from his position as a soldier and exiled from Grand Zawal. It seemed like a light punishment to me. Apparently, Ryan-san was fine with that decision. Since the one who was almost killed by him was okay with it, I couldn't really complain. Vil-san apparently raised a lot of objections. But Ryan-san said it was only natural for Gimlet to hold a grudge, as Ryan-san had taken away his chances of advancement. Another topic, one that was more important to me, progressed as well. If we can borrow Haruka-sama's power, we will assist in setting up signs where people from another world are likely to transfer. Really? Thank you so much, Ryan-sama. This means that while it's not a guaranteed solution, we might be able to save our classmates or other otherworlders who might transfer here in the future. Seeing Maki-sama and Haruka-sama, it's clear that helping otherworlders will benefit the development of Grand Zawal. Thank you very much. However, Maki-sama's level must be raised as a priority. Either Rikot or I will help whenever we're free. Vil-san and even Rikot-san too? I troubled Mihiro the other day, so let me have my redemption. Of course, I appreciate the help. As for the fruit that temporarily boosts abilities, it was decided to keep it secret. So it won't be mentioned on the signs. Instead, We'll write that there is help and other otherworlders nearby. It should encourage them to fight for survival rather than giving up. If we can notice the sounds of battle from around Grand Zarwal, we can rush to their aid. Of course, there's a huge element of luck involved. And I don't think we can save every single otherworlder who transfers here. But for now, we can only help those we're able to. If only we could clear a path through the demon forest to the transfer location. It's an impossible idea. But if we could, magical beasts wouldn't be rampant at the transfer sites. We could even build small settlements where we could explain the situation and protect new arrivals. It was just a thought. But for some reason, Sensei suddenly grabbed my shoulders and started shaking me vigorously. What's wrong, Sensei? That's it. Mahiro-kun, that's a brilliant idea. Cough, cough. A brilliant idea? But I said it because it can't be done. It can be done. Well, maybe not immediately. But with your ability, it's absolutely possible. That's ridiculous. I shrugged. But apparently, Sensei wasn't the only one who thought I could do it. Everyone was staring at me. No, not even Appraiser, Divine Eye, can manage that. We're talking about developing the Forest of Demons, a place where even long-term investigations haven't made much progress. No, Maki-san. With Haruka-san's cooperation, the fruit that temporarily boosts abilities, and all of us putting in our best efforts, the chances aren't zero. Even Alicia? Fine, I'll appraise it, but I guarantee it'll show a 0% success rate. Please. Try using your appraisal for it. Alicia's intense pleading left me no choice. Since I'd already brought it up, I couldn't back down now. So, I decided to go ahead and appraise it. Appraisal, Demon Forest Development. Now, what will the result be? Wait, huh? What's wrong? Say something, Mahiro-kun. Oh, sorry. It's just, the result was displayed in a new format, so I was a bit taken aback. How should I interpret this? It's a different type of percentage than what I've seen before. What kind of result is it? Mahiro, we're all curious. Please share it with us, if you will. Since everyone seemed eager to know, I decided to relay exactly what I saw. Well, as it stands, developing up to the transfer location seems possible. Did I get that right? Episode 56, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 51. Episode 56, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 51. The reason I'm being so vague is that the guide displays a map of Grand Zarwal and the entire layout of the Forest of Demons. It is color-coded to indicate which areas can be developed. It also shows a new figure called the development rate, which is currently displayed as 1%. I believe this means the development is possible up to 1% of the Forest of Demons. Beyond that, it's not feasible. I think your interpretation is correct. But the good news is that the place where the transfers occur falls within that 1%, Mahiro-kun. Yeah, though I'll be relying heavily on you, Sensei, and Ryan-san. But what's wrong with everyone? As I was talking with Sensei, I noticed Alicia and the others standing frozen, their mouths agape. That's a feat that hasn't been accomplished for decades. So this is what otherworlders are capable of. You two are amazing. No, that's not quite right. Only Ryan-san had a different opinion. The ones who are amazing are Maki-sama and Haruka-sama. Are we really that amazing? We're not even classified as special class professions, so I wouldn't say we're that great. No, Haruka-sama's excellence lies in a different realm. And this is just a guess, but isn't Maki-sama's appraiser, Divine Eye, actually a special class profession? Whoa, Ryan-san is sharp. Well, the people of this world must understand better than I do how incredible it is to venture into the Forest of Demons and survive. Since I accomplished that, it's no surprise that my appraiser, God's Eye, is suspected of being a special class profession. But it's just a possibility. There's no certainty that appraiser, Divine Eye, is really a special class profession. Indeed. I've never heard of it, and even the Kingdom of Shriden probably doesn't know about it. That being said, right now, there's something more important than my profession. The most important thing is that the transfer site falls within that 1% of the forest. Yes, indeed. Let's select soldiers who can operate within the Forest of Demons. Though it's likely just Vil and me. At this, Ryan-san put his hand to his chin, lost in thought. Even when we went to rescue Ryan-san and Rigot-san, The only volunteer was Vilsan. Even if we start training soldiers now, it will take time for their levels to rise. In the long run, that would be the safest approach. But since we don't know when the next transfer will happen, we should act as quickly as possible. I'll help. And so will I. Alicia and Rikot-san both raised their hands. But Ryan-san looked troubled. I appreciate your enthusiasm. But Alicia-sama and Rikot, your levels aren't high enough. That's true. You saved us last time. But under normal circumstances, lower-class professions can't set foot in the Forest of Demons. There's no need to worry about levels, Captain Ryan. Exactly. My level has gone up, after all, Alicia said with a smile, and Rikot-san responded with a determined voice. I've checked their levels myself. However, Vilsan, who has an intermediate class profession, was only barely making it at level 25. It's hard to imagine that Alicia at level 23 and Rikot-san at level 19, both lower-class professions, would be enough for the Forest of Demons. Are there no other intermediate-class soldiers? There are, but their levels are still too low to take into the Forest of Demons. Then you should take us instead. Alicia-sama, taking you along would be. Then there's no problem with me. I've been in the Forest of Demons before, and I'm a soldier. Rikot, you, Alicia and Rikot-san were aggressively offering their help, while Ryan-san and Vil-san were hesitant to involve them due to the danger. I watched this scene like a bystander, but then Sensei stood up. How about this? Alicia-san and Rikot-san can go to the Forest of Demons, but only if I accompany them. Conversely, if I can't accompany them, they absolutely won't go. Haruka-san, that would be far too much trouble for you. No, Alicia-san. You are the Lord of Grand Zawal, aren't you? In that case, you should prioritize your own safety. Developing the city is important, but there are things far more important than that, which you must not forget. That is. Yes, I understand. Sensei's words always seem to hit the mark and resonate with people. It's not just now. Sensei also gave Alicia some advice on the way to the barracks. Wasn't this person just supposed to be a math teacher? Ryan-sama, Vil-sama, is this arrangement acceptable to you? If Haruka-sama accompanies them, that would be a great help. In that case, we will also make sure that one of us always goes along. It's too risky to have only Rikot, who fights in close combat. And so, under the guise of developing the Forest of Demons, we began our mission to rescue Otherworlders. Episode 57, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 52. Episode 57, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 52. The next day, Alicia explained the development of the Forest of Demons to the soldiers. As expected, there were many voices of surprise. But thanks to the presence of Sensei, who had returned from rescuing Ryan-san and Rikot-san from the forest, any opposition quickly died down. A few days later, the guild master of the Adventurers Guild must have heard about this plan and stormed into the barracks. But Ryan calmly handled the situation. Hey, Ryan. Even with the help of a top-tier profession, developing the demon forest is impossible. You, of all people, should understand that best. Calm down, Goritsu. We have more allies than just Haruka-sama. What? Are you talking about that kid? Ahaha, Guildmaster. Please don't glare at me like that. Currently, I was in the room discussing the progress of the Forest of Demons development with Ryan-san and Sensei when the Guildmaster barged in, shouting, Hey, kid. Why yes. Who the hell are you? I've heard rumors that some adventurer came back from the Forest of Demons recently. Was that you? Well, maybe. Was it or wasn't it? Yes. I'm the one from the rumors. So, please stop glaring at me. Calm down, Goritsu. Sigh. Meiki-sama, could you come over here for a moment? Why yes. With a sigh, Ryan-san called me over, giving me a way out of the Guildmaster's intense stare. What Ryan-san said next, however, surprised me. As I had already heard about the situation about the Adventurers Guild from Alicia. Goritsu is a trustworthy man. Why don't you explain your profession to him and get the Adventurers Guild to cooperate with us? I've only heard about the Adventurers Guild from Alicia and Glenn. They told me the relationship between the Lord and the Guild isn't very good. What's the deal with that? I had heard that the previous Lord had a good relationship with the Guild. But ever since Alicia became the new Lord, that cooperation had broken down. While getting the Adventurers Guild to cooperate would certainly be appealing, I didn't want to betray Alicia. That's a misunderstanding, Maki-sama. But that's what she told me herself, you know. It's definitely a misunderstanding on the Lord's part. Whoa, wait, why are you getting closer, Guildmaster? We were talking from a distance. A misunderstanding, you say? The Lord hasn't been doing what she's supposed to for the Guild. That's why we've been forced to take action, and it's led to conflict. Then what exactly is she supposed to be doing? Why don't you ask the Chamberlain? They'd know, but there isn't a Chamberlain anymore. How would I find out? Yeah, don't give me that impossible look. It's true that only Alicia and Glenn remain at the mansion. There's no one else. When the previous lord passed away and Alicia took over, everyone abandoned her and left. Those bastards. They told me they passed everything down to the next Chamberlain. The Guildmaster clenched his fists, trembling with anger. Looks like this whole conflict between Alicia and the Guildmaster was just a misunderstanding. I should check with Alicia, but sorry for the wait. Huh? What's going on, everyone? Perfect timing, Alicia. I quickly explained the misunderstanding between Alicia and the Guildmaster, and the Guildmaster explained what the Lord was supposed to do. It turned out that the main issues were adjusting the power balance between the soldiers and the Adventurers Guild and formalizing an agreement on thinning the magic beasts in the area. I deeply apologize, Goritsu-sama. No, I also made the mistake of believing what those who left said and didn't bring the matter up with the Lord. I apologize for that as well. With both sides lowering their heads in apology, we were able to establish a cooperative relationship between the Lord and the Adventurers Guild. Since Ryan-san vouched for the Guildmaster's trustworthiness, it seemed fine to tell him about me. Besides, since I was planning to become an adventurer anyway, my secret would eventually come out. So, about my profession, I explained that my job was highly likely to be a special class profession, how my abilities were critical for developing the Forest of Demons, and that both Sensei and I were from another world. I also mentioned that more people from other worlds might be transported here, so we needed to hasten the development to rescue them. Man, to think the kid has a special class profession. Well, probably. With abilities that crazy, it's definitely a special class profession. So, can you appraise me too? Sure, if you don't mind. As I appraised the Guildmaster, I started reading off the information. Your name is Goritsu Stones. Level 33, Profession Berserker. Oh ho, you can really see it, huh? Yep, I'm an adventurer who made it to the top with the advanced class profession of Berserker. I'm the Guildmaster of the Adventurers Guild. Nice to meet you. Why yeah, nice to meet you. And so, we reconciled with the Adventurers Guild, and the development of the Forest of Demons progressed rapidly from there. Episode 58, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 53. Episode 58, The Supercommon Hero Summoning 53. From the group of soldiers, Ryan-san, Vil-san, and Rikot-san were selected to accompany us. Additionally, 3 adventurers handpicked by the Guildmaster from the Adventurers Guild would be joining us. 2 of them were intermediate class professions, and to my surprise, one of them was an advanced class profession. There are several of them with advanced class professions at Grand Zawal that face Forest of Demons. Gahahaha. That was according to the Guildmaster. Setting that aside, right after our reconciliation, we began clearing out the monsters and developing the Forest of Demons. However, one particularly troublesome opponent awaited us. I'd like to start by taking down the Queen Dragon. What? A Queen Dragon? Yeah. I feel like I've seen this reaction before. Hey, you're being ridiculous right from the start. Even if it's the Guildmaster's request, I'm not throwing my life away for this. Do you have a plan? While the 2 male adventurers with intermediate class professions were shouting, the female adventurer with the advanced class profession stayed calm and asked quietly, "Of course. With this team, I guarantee we'll succeed in defeating the Queen Dragon. So please rest assured." Alright then, that's fine. To be honest, I was also surprised when I checked the success rate with my appraisal ability. It was a 100% success rate. What's shocking is that this strategy involved using temporary ability boosting fruits on just Sensei, not on everyone. And since it'll be revealed eventually, I'll tell you now. Both Akige's Sensei and I are from another world. What? Another world? I see. That might be why. but Sensei's magic stat is much higher than others. So I determined that we could defeat the Queen Dragon. I'd heard before that even a dragon at level 1 is equivalent to a human at level 10. But that's based on the standards of this world. For people from another world, the growth in abilities upon leveling up is much larger. That likely explains the 100% success rate. By saying this, even if we boost Sensei's magic stat with the fruit and she unleashes a powerful spell, it shouldn't arouse suspicion. I hope. Well, as long as the job gets done, I won't ask any more questions. Thank you. As expected of an advanced class adventurer, she only cares about completing the task. I thanked her honestly, and we headed off to defeat the Queen Dragon. Let me cut to the chase. The job was over with just Sensei alone. We hid in the shadows, waiting for the Queen Dragon to land. As soon as it touched down, we hit Sensei with over 500 magic unleash a thunderbolt. A massive bolt of lightning struck, far larger than the Queen Dragon itself, frying it to a crisp in one hit. Thank you so much, big sis. We'll be counting on you from now on. Hee, looking forward to it. Even the female adventurer, who had been calm the whole time, now looked at Sensei with deep respect. Sensei didn't seem to mind and smiled in return. Episode 59, Epilogue. And then, on a certain day a few months later, that moment finally arrived. The place where we had been transported to was already cleared of trees, and a building resembling a rural bus stop had been constructed. It was then that otherworlders, likely transported from the Shridden Kingdom, appeared. Maki-san. A signal has been raised from the transfer shrine. Whoa. Seriously, someone has been transported? I was in the middle of eating breakfast when I received the report from Alicia and hurried toward the transfer site. By the way, it was Alicia who named it the transfer shrine. Since it was built to resemble a bus stop rather than a shrine, I find it a bit hard to say that. But I suppose I'll get used to it eventually. Going with me were Akige's sensei, Alicia, and Rikot-san. Now, both Alicia and Rikot-san had reached level 30. And Ryan-san had given his approval that they didn't need escorts. Mahiro-kun. Who do you think it could be? I don't know. Quite a bit of time has passed since we were summoned, so I don't think any special class people would come this time. While I wanted to see Madoka again, I understood that it was a wish that wouldn't come true. However, that meant that, regardless of who was being transported, I hardly knew anyone. Both Yuria and Arata were special classes after all. As I contemplated this, I arrived at the transfer shrine and froze at the sight of the transported individual. No way, how is this happening? No, that's my line. Yes. Please don't take my line like that. You've always been like this. You would sneakily take the light novels I was reading and read them first, or say what I was about to say before I could. And now, you're doing something I thought was impossible. What on earth could cause a special class profession to be transported? Madoka. You're really alive, Maki-kun. Madoka dashed towards me and jumped into my arms. Kchi. Cough. You have a high level, don't you? Well, I'm level 8 now. Level 8 and this kind of power? Wow, special class professions are terrifying. Hey. I'm here too, you know. Slowly approaching after Madoka was Yuria, who was also a special class profession. I can't believe 2 special class professions were banished like this. Banished? Don't tell me you were banished too, Maki. Well, I'm here. And it's not just me. You're safe. Yokio-san, Kondo-san, Haruka-sensei. This time, the 2 of them jumped into Akige-sensei's arms. Yeah, she's only an advanced class. But she's already at level 20, so it's probably possible for her to catch them. Haruka-sensei, it's my fault. I'm so glad you're alive, sensei. Yufu, I thought I was going to die too. But Mahiro-kun saved me. The reason you two can be here now is all thanks to Mahiro-kun. As I watched the 3 of them, Alicia and Rikot-san approached me from the side. Those over there are the ones Maki-san has been concerned about all along, aren't they? Oh. I guess that would be the case. Hey, Mahiro. Are you thinking of switching over from Alicia-sama? Wait, Rikot-chan? I'm sorry, but I have no idea what you're talking about. I was at my wit's end. But when Madoka called out to me, I took the 2 of them along to introduce them, and we returned to Grand Zawal. There were bound to be a lot of stories to share, and there were many explanations that needed to be given. However, for now, it might be okay to just celebrate our reunion. After all, it was a reunion with someone I thought was dead, and for me, it was incredibly beneficial that the two special class professions were transported. Alright, now I can leave Grand Zawal in their hands. And for now, the development of the Forest of Demons should be settled. I've decided to live freely as an adventurer in this world. I'm determined to lead a carefree otherworldly life here.